Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the
Yerky Boys.
That's us, book 45, The Revelation, today.
Yes, this book was released in August of the year 2000. What are you laughing about?
Well, I don't know. It's funny. Yes, it was. You're right.
It was released in August of 2000. It's the 45th numbered book in the Animorphs line.
Wow.
This is an Animorphs themed podcast. Every week we discuss a different Animorphs book. We also discuss non-Animorphs content and other Animorphs content too sometimes on our Patreon, which is at patreon.com/theyerkyboys. You can find us there for more bonus episodes every single week. It's a lot of fun.
That's all true. Everything you just said.
You can also email us if you have a question or comment at theyerkyboys@gmail.com. But we don't have any of those this week, so we can get right into it.
Oh, good. Good. That's always nice to hear. This is a big.
That's always nice to hear when none of our fans had anything to say.
Yeah, I love it when we don't have to deal with their shit.
Go ahead. Sorry. Please, I interrupted you. Please.
It means maybe we'll have time to actually talk about the book.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sometimes. Listen, this is a big book, as I was saying.
I think the same size as all the other ones.
Well, it's maybe a little shorter than some of them.
Yeah, it's not the longest, not the shortest. I'd say it's average. It's an average book.
Well, a little below for this season, maybe, but yeah, big book. Big shake up to the status quo after all of our, just random they go to Australia type shit books. So it's going to be a big episode, and you should be hype. You should be excited.
Well, I will say this.
Yeah.
Going in for my part, for listeners who don't know, some people maybe this is their first episode.
True.
This is my first time reading these books. And you see a title like The Revelation, and you think, holy shit, what's the revelation going to be? You know, that's got to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But then I did initially flash back to Elfangor's secret. And I recalled when he didn't really have one. That title was just a total nothing burger.
Yeah, I was going to say, you actually saw the title, The Revelation, and thought that might mean something?
Well, no, yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying is I didn't know, like, I was like, okay, that seems like it should matter, but it also could be, I don't know, we needed a noun and we didn't use that one yet.
Yeah.
But in this case, it did, I think, live up to its title.
Wow.
For maybe the first time in months.
First time ever, possibly?
Maybe ever.
Like, I mean, I guess there are plenty of times where it goes above and beyond. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the one with the Elemist is called The Stranger. So it's not like, but
starts with Merceau. Go ahead.
But the point being that, this is an apt title for once.
I'm also going to say this.
Ooh.
Do you like when people say things, but before they say them, they say, I'm going to say this?
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Okay.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, well, now I'm going to say something else.
Oh, okay.
This is one of our longer seasons. If not,
Yeah,
no, I think 2 was the longest for some reason.
No. 2 is the shortest. I think this is tied with 3.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. It's actually, I feel like it's actually going by fast.
Mm-hmm.
After this, we have 2 weeks and then we're on Elemist Chronicles and that's it. Then we're on to next season. It feels very, like at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, it's going to go on forever. And now it's almost over.
Yeah, I mean, the reason you think 2 went on for so long is because we had to leave for a trip in the middle of it and we dragged it out forever. But yeah. Listen, again, part of that is just because we, it's like we're comparing it. When we did 3, that was a huge percentage of everything we'd done. And now it's like, all right, that's it's not as much of a percentage to get through it. But also, I think a lot more was happening in 3, like especially toward the beginning. we were doing like the attack multiple books in, uh, just massive changes to like, oh, we find out what the hell Krayak was. Here's a Drode, and then this season it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, not much new. We're just kind of doing some storylines. Like, I guess we got to see Andalites again, and but when we learned more about them, that was pretty cool. But like, we've seen him before. There's a Garrotron that doesn't matter. There's Taylor again. There's the Drode again. Um,
Yeah.
our big change up books to our understanding of the series are coming toward the end of this season. Like starting around now. um
Yeah.
and yeah.
I'm very excited to finish this season and talk about it in our recap discussion because yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's an interesting one. I think
Yeah. I mean, this
interesting.
is and I will say as far as the status quo things go, it wouldn't have been crazy to start season 5 like endgame on this book. It's just that then the rest of it doesn't really divide up nicely into seasons and they don't line up with the chronicles. And there are later points you could start a season 5 too. So it made more sense to me to do it that way. But like this book's a big deal for those of you who don't remember which book this is.
Big deal book.
Big deal book.
No big deal. The cable guy.
You know
In
who
this
would
case, it's
have
the opposite of that, though. It is a big deal. Yeah.
gotten along, I think would have been best friends with the cable guy is the Drode. I think the Drode and the cable guy would have liked each other.
Oh man, imagine the Drode ringing your doorbell, looking through the peephole, and you're like, "Who is it?" The Drode.
I
You
think
know.
Jim Carrey is the perfect guy to play the Drode in the live action adaptation of Animorphs.
Well, listen, that's we're saving that. That's a future episode where we cast all the Animorphs characters in a movie.
That's probably the only one I feel strongly about.
I think either Jim Carrey or Jamie Kennedy should do it.
I bet new listeners were not expecting us to talk about the Drode in this episode.
That's the thing with the Drode. You never know when he's gonna pop up. He's spooky that way. All right,
All right.
let's just get right into it.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're making good time here.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's not spoil that. Let's look at this. Let's look at this cover. Oh, I guess I should say, this is another Ellen Giro book.
Oh
Right?
yeah, of course. Ellen Jarrow.
Yeah, Ellen Giro. I'm gonna. I don't fucking whatever.
It's fine. It's the same way you mispronounce Hork-Bajir. You just have your own way of saying the
No,
names.
That one's correct.
Well, not according
The
to
problem is
my
that I
research.
don't. The way I remember it is she's the doctor from Dragon Ball who made all the androids. And I'm like, it sounds like that, and that's not quite right. So
Only an idiot would would picture or remember things because of Dragon Ball.
well, what can I say?
Cut to when I said that I imagine Hork-Bajirs as Cell from Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, I remember that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Yeah.
is one of hers again, and she's here to save us after last book.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can
Okay, I'm
talk
good.
about
I'm
the
back.
cover because we've covered her before.
We've covered her, but listen, I remain an Ellen Jarrow stan. I don't think anything can shake me from that, to be honest. I love her.
That's fair. That's reasonable.
I want to get her autograph.
Okay.
I
That'll
want a
be-
selfie with her.
I'll get for your birthday. I'll get you her autograph.
Ooh, do you think she has a cameo page?
Oh, it's a good question.
If
You wouldn't do that from K. Applegate, though.
no,
just Ellen.
I like Ellen more. I wish Ellen wrote these books, all of them. And I think that Michael Grant should divorce K.A. and marry Ellen Jarrow and become Michael Jarrow. He should take her name.
Hmm.
That's what I think.
I don't know about this.
Okay, let's talk about the cover.
Yeah. So Marco turns into an ant.
He sure does. Is something going on with the font on this book? Am I crazy?
The font? No.
The logo at the top, not the font, I shouldn't say, but the maybe this is just something I haven't paid attention to. The image I'm looking at in Seropedia,
Hmm.
I haven't gone back to compare or check. I'm just telling you what it seems like in my head right now.
Yeah.
It looks like, doesn't it usually have more shading or gradient on it or something? It looks like very flat to me. Am I
Uh,
crazy?
well, the lettering itself has that same shininess, but the background, because it's in this like big squarish, like curved off corners type banner thing.
I think it's two
Um,
things. I think
the but the
the
background of that is like a matte finish, and at one point it was always shiny. I don't know if that's new
uh,
this book, but I do think they changed that at some point. I could go.
yeah.
The other book's like not that far away from me. I could go check.
I mean, it's up to you. I don't know how convenient that is or easy to do, but I do think that 99% of the time when we're doing these, I just don't even pay attention to the logo because it's the same on every book ostensibly, so I just ignore it.
Hmm.
So it's very possible that it's just always been like that. But I think part of it is the black on gray, the outline, the shadow they put on the Animorphs logo usually contrasts
Mm,
more against like a purple or a red background, but here it's just black on gray, so it
I
feels a
see. I
little
see.
flatter. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I do think the whole banner box thing used to be like shiny, and it is matte. But yeah, I don't remember when that was made new. Maybe I'll check that at some point. I don't feel like getting out of my seat right now.
This is
It's
what they listen to this podcast
literally
for.
12 feet away. But yeah, I mean, gold on black, whatever. Fuck, it's boring. But I get what you're saying. So Marco.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about marker yet. First, I also want to
Okay.
say the
Uh,
background of this cover looks
yeah.
similar to our podcast logo. We also have an orange, cloudy
Oh,
background, so
wow.
feels
I
kind of
thought I told you
special.
to change that for Pride Month.
um, yeah. Well, I'm protesting that
Oh, okay.
because
Uh-huh.
I don't agree with
Mhm.
Pride Month because I think every month should be Pride Month.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
You're an ally like that.
yeah. That's right. In fucking September, I'm like, "Happy Pride," and they're like, "What?" And I'm
Well,
like,
why
"Every
don't we just
month, my friend,
always have
every
a
month."
rainbow logo then? Why didn't you do that the first time?
Well, because that's insensitive to people with color blindness.
Okay.
Now, Marco on this book
Mhm.
here, once again, this is our new Marco.
Mhm. Yes, this is our first new yeah, this is our first new Marco.
Besides on the
Yeah,
Megamorphs when they were all new,
besides on Megamorphs, yeah.
their grand debut. I do not like him.
You just don't like change.
I was okay with the Cassie. I hate the Tobias. The Marco's not that bad, but he's not as cute. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. He's
Hmm.
not as cute.
Hmm. It's because he's getting older now. Now he's
Yeah,
suave. He's
yeah, I don't
handsome.
like it. He looks too, I don't know. I like little baby Marco with this, he's got like a little more baby fat on his face. I don't know, he was cute. He was just a little guy. Look, he looked mischievous. This is too serious. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't like his haircut either. Like I don't it doesn't need to be long anymore, but like it's so like neat, you know? It doesn't look like a
Yeah.
comedian's hair.
No, I agree. This is not a funny kid. I'm also zooming in, and these
Mhm.
eyelashes are really not doing it for me.
I see, I see. I like his slouch in this pose.
His slouch is not bad. It does. He has when he's turning into an ant, he starts growing extra limbs, and it looks like he's got vestigial arms that like don't work. Vestigial. How do you say that word?
Sure.
Okay. It looks kind of like it's a bit Cronenbergy. He's
Hmm.
got just a weird little arm that just flaps and hangs dead.
I had like
I
a caterpillar costume when I was a kid. I think it was for like a school play or something, but I reused it for a Halloween costume where like it I had extra arms like that coming out of the sweater. They were like stuffed and then they like hung from your main arms with string.
upsetting. Were you hungry at the time? Oh no,
I
wait, it's
don't think
very
so.
hungry. Sorry, it's the hippos
Uh
are hungry. The
oh yeah.
caterpillar's very hungry.
I knew what you meant, but
Here's what I don't like is I guess he's wearing It almost looks like a sweatshirt. Like, I can't tell how thick the material in this shirt is, but it is a long sleeve shirt that he has the sleeves rolled up and all bunched up to his
Yeah.
elbows. It's what
Doesn't
are you
look good.
doing, Marco?
I was noticing that too. I was like, okay, he's in a red t-shirt, but then I looked at the sleeves and I was like, no, what the hell? Just wear a short sleeve shirt if it's too hot, you know? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, this is it's strange. Like, whose decision was that fashionable in the year 2000? I don't think
Hmm.
so.
Oh, Marco's got I'm looking at his hands now. He's got some like vascularity on that. Yeah, I see what you're saying about the baby fat being gone. Those are like man hands.
Yeah.
Those aren't
Yeah, no.
boy hands.
This is a Marco who's been spending extra time playing b-ball.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
I don't care for it.
yeah.
This is not my Marco. Hashtag not my Marco.
Hashtag not my Marco. Well, there's not too many of these left, so you'll be
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know what else to say. Like, he's turning into a bug. It's gross, but in terms of the
Mhm.
morph, there's nothing too outrageous here.
Now, I do think that it's rather funny that he doesn't like actually turn into an ant in this book. He
I
turns
didn't.
he morphs about like halfway into an ant just to like show that he can, and then he demorphs.
Yeah, I didn't know if we're gonna discuss that yet, but yeah, this
Yeah,
cover is a complete misdirect lie.
yeah. I wasn't sure if it was right, but it was. I was thinking about it because I thought it was very funny last week when I teased he turned into an ant, and you were like, "Oh no!" Right? It's like, well, he doesn't really do that actually.
What a dumb thing. And then I when that happens, we'll get to it, but I did say, is this literally the only reason that that's on the cover? And then later on, they're like, "Oh, maybe we need some bug morphs." And I was like, "Oh, I guess they're going to do ants again." And that's no. No, they didn't do it.
I don't
It's
even
just
remember them being like, "We need bug morphs later."
yeah, at some point they're like, "Oh, how can we sneak into this place? I don't know, maybe
Mm,
roaches or something or yeah, I don't know."
yeah,
There's not
you
even
can.
whatever. He's already been a roach, so you couldn't do a roach. I don't know.
It was even Marco who was the roach too.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's fine. They just needed something cool to put on the cover.
I don't
Do you think
it
maybe that's
sucks.
why? Because he like it doesn't even matter that it's an ant. He could have been morphing anything in that scene. Do you think they made it an ant specifically because they were like, what's he gonna turn into? We already did gorilla. You know, we already did. I mean, we've done a million birds. We're not gonna do. He needs to turn into something that we can put on the cover. Make him be an ant in a scene, please.
Ellen, what the fuck? They should have just do gorilla again. Just give him a cool gorilla pose. I'm okay with a repeat at this point. Just make it
Yeah,
look cool.
we are late enough. Like we should be. I mean, at this point we are. But one of the problems of these other books this season is that we should be past the point of like the novelty of new morphs. Like I don't want to see them turn into cheetahs because they're cheetahs now, right? Like I want to see them do stuff. So it's like totally okay to say like, okay, well this is him as a gorilla again, right? Like that's fine. We're progress like I don't want to have a whole book dedicated to showing off a cheetah. I just want to be a gorilla. That book didn't even do the cheetah thing. But you
Yeah.
get
How
what I'm
about
saying.
here's an idea. He morphs into the old Marco. All right. He morphs into a 25-year-old Marco. Okay, the
We
quote.
already did that one. But so okay, quote, yeah. It
Sometimes
says
there's no
yeah.
escape.
Hmm.
Even for the Animorphs. 3 fucking dots on
It's a
mine.
3 daughter.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a quote. It's on here.
Sometimes there's no escape. Even for the Animorphs. Sometimes there's no escape. That's what does that even what does that mean?
I mean, I guess I get it in the context of this. It feels like they just kind of put a sting on there, and you know what I mean. Like, oh, there you go. That's catchy. That's your draw. Whatever.
Here's the punch up.
Fuck it.
Just say there's
Yeah.
no escape. Dot dot dot. It's fine. You don't like why
Mm.
the sometimes makes it seem like it's a phrase or like a turn on a phrase you're supposed to be familiar with somehow, but it's not. I just the whole thing is too messy. It goes on for too long.
Yeah, I
Just
don't like these multi-sentence
brevity.
quotes, I gotta tell you.
No, I don't know if there's ever been one that's been good. Okay. Inside?
Inside, the quote says, sometimes the truth
Whoa.
won't set you free. And this one's got 4 dots.
That's not bad.
Hmm.
That that is how you should use the sometimes. Because the truth will set you free is a familiar phrase, but you're
Hmm.
turning it on its head. Sometimes the truth won't set you free. They're literally illustrating why the front cover is bad, because you're saying if the phrase was there is escape, then you could say sometimes there is no escape. But the phrase is already there's no escape. So the sometimes
Hmm.
is totally unnecessary and confusing.
Hmm. Now, on Seropedia, it says here that this inside quote is a reference to the Bible verse John 8:32,
Are
and you
you
will know the
serious?
truth, and the truth will set you free. So, did
Shut
you
the
count this in
fuck
your
up.
references for this book?
Zero, whatever nerd wrote that on Zeropedia, I'm gonna shove you in your fucking locker. If you come to my door with a Bible in your hand, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Fuck off. Go back to church, bitch. Nobody wants you here.
Yeah, that's a reasonable response, I think. I just wanted to know, did you put it in the reference list? Does that
I
count
don't
toward this
read
book,
the
do
inside
you think?
cover before
Mm.
the podcast,
Well,
so
sorry, would you include it now, do you think?
no.
Okay. Well, maybe. Maybe then.
This is like every time they use a phrase that originated from Shakespeare, do I gotta write that shit in there too? Fuck
Maybe.
off. This is a
Here's
reference to the Latin word.
here's a picture.
Um, this picture is nuts. Okay. So the inside cover, which I'm looking at for the first time, is a scene from the book. Marco is an ant on the passenger seat in a car.
Hmm.
Next to what we will later learn, I mean, spoilers for the book, but it's but it's Marco's dad in the driver's seat. You don't see his whole face.
Hmm.
You just see his nose and his mouth and chin and his hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah, he's looking straight forward.
Yes, that's what's one of the weirdest things about this is that he is just, it's as if he is driving, like he's not looking at what's going on with this ant at all.
Hmm.
Also, that ant looks fucking huge. The
It's a
perspective is,
perspective thing. Yeah.
unless he's not fully morphed yet.
Mm.
But also in the scene of the book, he doesn't even get that far, I don't think.
I don't think so, no.
But whatever. I don't, and Marco's dad also, I mean, you can't see his whole face, but he looks maybe too young to me, or doesn't quite look like how I would picture a Marco dad.
Yeah, I mean, he's very illustrated, cuz like on the front we have like the actual photographs of the models and then they transform them, but this guy does not look like he came from a model, right? Like this is just a Mattingly original.
That's
You know what I
probably why
mean?
they don't show his whole face.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, he does a good job. Like it's still I feel like can fool you. The hands and like it does look fairly photorealistic to my dumb eye. Uh, the soda can in the cup holder
Hmm.
has a straw in it.
Yeah, that's
It's
weird.
it's blue, so is it Pepsi? I guess,
I guess.
or it's
I mean,
a
we can see
generic.
nutrition facts. Can you read them? Maybe you can match them up to a Pepsi and see if they're correct.
I'm zooming in on Seropedia. I do not believe there's actual words on that can.
Mm.
I'm guessing
Sad.
they took a can and blurred it or something. Yes, that is a dad thing though. Like my dad would put a straw in a soda can, and he would be like, "Hey, do you want a straw for yours?" And I'd be like, "The
Mm.
fuck's wrong with you?"
I get it. I don't know if
I
I'd
mean,
classify it as a dad thing so much as like a weird old person thing, but yeah, I get it.
if you're driving, I guess I get it because you don't want to have
Just
to like tilt your head back.
you don't have to just learn how to fucking drink from a can. It's
But
not hard.
but here's the question: what's the scenario here? Because you were in a convenience store, you bought a can of soda, and like you got a straw from there somewhere.
Now, Now, actually, in the book, this scene takes place immediately post getting food from a diner.
Oh.
So did they buy a can of soda from a diner?
That is weird. I mean, maybe some diners I could see if it's like a burger joint,
Yeah.
they just give you a can of soda, maybe.
Yeah, or because it's like to go or whatever.
Yeah, well, my real fear is that Marco's dad keeps straws in his glove compartment.
That sounds actually like the most likely, because that is something my dad absolutely did, even though we never used them.
Also, like the attention to detail that you can see like all the mirror buttons and window and locks and stuff on the other side of the car.
I
Like,
actually think it was my mom who did that, because she's more of a weird, messy bitch. I
hey,
hear what you're
come
saying
on.
though with the card. So speaking of all the dials and stuff you can see, did you know there's an Orson watch on this cover?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on.
Do you
Let me
know?
see.
Okay, let's
I
see if you can find him.
is oh my god, I see him.
You found him?
Oh my
There he
god.
is. He's on the speedometer.
Oh my god. Oh, Mattingly, you son of a bitch. You've done it again. For
That's
listeners,
our
you
favorite game is
listeners,
Orson Watch. Oh yeah, explain.
Orson is David Mattingly's cat who he hides in the pictures.
Yeah, I think he was told he's not allowed to put him in all the pictures, so he has to hide him.
See, now this is the best one yet because usually, at least as far as I can recall, it's still a cat either in a photo or like somewhere in the corner that's or in a shadow. This is just literally his face is in the speedometer. Like there's no logic behind it. It's just like a hidden Mickey.
And you just did it. Oh, it is a hidden Mickey, isn't it?
Yeah, hidden Orson.
Hidden Orson. That's
I,
pretty
you
good.
know what? Orson might be my new favorite number one Orson.
Number one Orson?
I think he's number one.
Better than the pig? Better than Wells?
Yeah, I think Pig is 2 and
What
Wells
about
is
the?
3. Wait, who's the?
Oh wait, no, that's the Orville, not the Orson. Why did I?
Oh.
It's because I don't actually watch it.
Okay.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
yeah. Well, I think
What
I think
about
we've exhausted.
George? George Orson, author of 1984. I switched it like you did. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, it's good.
Also, it was a unintentional Seinfeld reference. How about George?
Trying to there's a joke in here somewhere with like daughter or son. I can't quite make it work off the top of my head, but there's something you
Oh.
could get. There's something there, I think.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Anyway, I think we've exhausted this now.
I guess.
Might have exhausted our listeners too.
Wish we had an email to read. All right, I guess we can start the book.
All right, I guess we can. I feel like I almost just want to read the opening to this book because it's a very good one, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the opening to this book, it says, "My name is Marco, and I am to cuisine what Sammy Sosa is to baseball. When it's my night to make dinner, I don't order in. I don't crack open a can of Chef Boyardee and call that a meal. Please. I go the extra mile. I use the oven." I know. You're saying to yourself, but Marco, man, you're fighting a war against alien invaders. You and your friends, you guys battle Yerks 24/7. How do you find the time to cook? It isn't easy, but with a little help from the freezer aisle and a guy I know called Red Baron, it's a lot simpler than it could be. So Marco's
Yep.
funny.
I can relate. Mark, that is the first note I wrote down. Marco is funny, verbatim.
It's pretty fair.
Probably my most written note throughout the entire series.
That's probably true, yeah. Yeah, so Marco's making dinner for his dad and Nora, his stepmom, because he's trying to be like a good stepson. Even he's still kind of about the whole thing, but he wants to be good. And so his dad and Nora come home, and his dad is like super happy about some new thing at work. Remember, he works as like an engineer at some like defense company. They do like highly technical work or whatever. Um, so he's describing all this theoretical stuff that he's working on. And as he's talking, it becomes apparent that what he's describing is zero space. The lab that he works in is on the verge of some kind of massive zero space breakthrough. And so Marco is like kind of freaking out about the whole thing. But since his dad says at some point that he wants to take the family on a 5-day vacation to celebrate, it doesn't seem like he's a yerk, or at least he's not a yerk yet. Right.
Mm.
So, Marco calls the other Animorphs and they call a meeting to discuss the situation. Um, Axe is like, well, humans couldn't have possibly done this on their own. Maybe this must be like some yerk trap. But either way, Marco's dad is probably at risk in this whole thing. So Jake is like, all right, everybody out on missions to like watch and over the situation. Marco, you go home. You're too close. Okay. So right off the bat, huge big deal scene.
Big deal, because
Mhm.
for me, the revelation in this scene was how good of a boy Marco is.
He is a very good boy.
I couldn't love Marco anymore. He cooks.
Hmm.
He's nice to his stepmom. Listen, I have a stepmom. I never made her a fucking frozen pizza. Marco's
The
a
ultimate
dream.
show of love.
Yeah, Nora says, quote, "You're the stepson of my dreams." Also, there's some fanfics I'm writing based on that line.
Oh boy. Oh
What?
boy.
They're wholesome.
I would
Anyway,
read those. I would read wholesome fanfics about Marco just going about his day-to-day life. Uh,
stepson. What I shouldn't do what I'm about to do.
no, I like what you're about to do. I think it's really good.
Long lashed stepson makes pizza for his math teacher mom. I don't know. While
Yeah.
dad watches. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with what I said.
Yeah.
And
Stepmom's stuck in traffic on her way home.
also
Marco cooks dinner.
reading this, reading this kind of made me change my mind about a long held belief I've had on this show.
Okay.
There's a lot of revelations in this episode for us and the characters.
Okay.
For a long time, I've kind of shipped Marco and Rachel together. You know that, right?
Yes. I don't know.
What
I
are you-
like where this is going.
No, it's fine.
Just
You're gonna like
okay.
it.
Just keep going.
You're gonna like it.
Okay.
Now I ship Rachel and Marco's dad. No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. I changed my mind. Rachel doesn't deserve Marco.
Whoa.
He is too good for her. She
Maybe
doesn't
Melissa.
deserve his sweet pizza making skills. Maybe Melissa. And you know what? Maybe Cassie. Maybe I still want the Jake, Cassie, Marco Challengers book.
Oh, yeah. Did we make that joke before? Because we should
did.
have if we did.
Yes,
Okay.
we
yeah,
made
because
that
that is
joke.
that is what I want. That's the
But-
ultimate ship here.
Or we might have made it for different characters. I think we said Tobias, Marco, and Rachel.
Oh, yeah, I think that's true. No, I think it's much better since Marco and Jake are best friends, and that's really kind of more what it's about, if we're being real here.
Yeah.
Also, Marco does want to fuck Jake. That's just true in the text, I think.
Well, certainly. I mean, they all kind of want to fuck each other based on how attractive they think Axe is. But that's for a therapist to unpack, not us. Yeah, it does. Like you said, he's kind of moved. It seems like this is unofficially Marco's moving on. I guess not. As the book continues, we're going to learn pretty much the opposite. But it seems like at the outset that he's really saying, okay, my dad remarried and that's nice, which is pretty mature of him considering he's the only person with the knowledge here that his mom's still alive.
Yeah, he's definitely, as you said, as we'll see, he hasn't really accepted this. There's still like a part of him that's like, well, listen, my mom's still alive, and if everybody just knew that, then that would change everything. But like, he's certainly at this point kind of in this position of, well, listen, this is the way it is, and I might as well just kind of like get into the groove and try to make things as nice and like, uh, frictionless as possible here.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's reasonable to do. And yeah, fairly mature, I guess.
Yeah, Marco's very mature for his age.
Hmm.
What? Anyway, and I want to say, at least, can I say one more thing that's a complete non
Hmm.
sequitur before we start talking about the actual important plot, which actually starts very
Yeah.
early in this book for once,
Yeah.
for a change. Not, it happens sometimes. Um, Overall, I have said I enjoy Ellen Giro's work, and I think her writing is pretty good. I did feel like in this book there were 2 or 3 instances where I thought the writing was strangely, I don't like, if you just read through it, it works in your head, but if you actually try to think about what's happening, sometimes the passage of time doesn't quite
Hmm.
translate. Here's an example of what I mean in this scene.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that you're going to be like, the fuck's wrong with you? No one, who cares about this? But I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Um, in this scene, his dad comes in. He's making the pizza, and he's all excited because of the Z space, but they don't know yet. And his mom said, Nora says, "What's gotten into you?" He says, "The best thing that ever happened to us." The buzzer rang. I pulled the pizza from the oven and cut it up on a pizza board. What's the big deal, Dad? We gonna be rich? Okay. So like you just read that, it seems fine, right? It's not, there's
Hmm.
nothing quite wrong with that. But if you just pull it apart a little bit, what happens here is Nora asks him, the dad, a question.
Hmm.
He gives a vague like, "Oh, something really good," clearly asking for a follow-up.
Hmm.
And then everyone in silence for at least 30 seconds to a minute waits, says nothing, stares at each other, I guess, as the buzzer rings. Marco takes the pizza out of the oven. Marco slices the pizza up on a board. Then Marco says, "What is it, Dad?" Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a strange, if you were to act this scene out in real life the way it is written, there's a weird gap in conversation that
I
is
think this is a you
unexplainable.
problem.
but
Cause like,
but
cause like when I heard you do that, I'm kind of imagining like, yeah, there's a conversation, and then we can like retroactively describe what Marco is doing. Like, yeah, the thing beeps, he pulls it out. That's all kind of these are all kind of happening simultaneously. You know what I
yeah, but
mean?
it
And
doesn't say they're happening simultaneously. It
yeah, but
says,
if you interweave these two ideas, it becomes like confusing. Like in your brain, you just kind of push them together. It's like comics time. It's like, yeah, sure, if you try to do every point literally, but like it doesn't. Your brain just naturally makes the flow of time work, or at least mine does because it works. But
I just think
I
if
don't know.
you just, it should be written like he said, as I started to take the pizza out of the oven or something. You know what I mean? Like, just, you have little transition words in there that make it flow better.
I didn't even. I gotta tell you, as you were reading that section, I assumed you were gonna keep going, and when you finished, I was like, I have no idea what you're gonna say. The problem is,
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
I
had
get
no
that.
clue.
Like I said, if you're reading it through and you're not like dissecting it, it's functional. But then, like, if you actually look at it, I just thought it was a little awkward.
I was gonna sort of,
There's
transition
more of
into a point
these.
about the writing and potentially like agree with you, even maybe to some extent. But now that I've heard your example, I don't think that I will.
I got at least one more I'll bring up when the time comes.
Oh boy. Um,
Anyway,
cause I mean,
to
what
me
I
to me that is
yeah.
just a sign of they didn't have time to edit books. Like, I do feel like an editing pass would be like, oh, just add in a couple words to make it a little smoother. That's my opinion.
I mean, maybe you would have. That would not have been an editing pass I would have given it. I would have been like, it's fine. I don't even notice a problem.
No, your editing pass would have been, oh, when she starts talking about math and stuff, they should have added more math to it because I'm a nerd and I love numbers.
I do think that Nora comes off as kind of stupid here. given that she is a math teacher.
Yeah, I mean, for different reasons. I just don't like math or nerds, so I that's why I didn't like her here.
Well, there's just like a couple parts where his dad is like explaining this math concept, and she's asking, and she seems confused by like fairly basic ideas. And then eventually she kind of loses interest, like he's talking about nerd speak, and it's like you made Nora's whole character that she was like she loved math because she's a math teacher and it's the language of the universe. And Marco, you should like math too. And then it's like his dad starts actually talking about high level math, and she's like, "That's nice, dear." So she just seems kind of stupid.
Well, maybe she's just a narcissist. I don't know.
That could be. That could be.
Maybe she just thinks that what Marco's dad is saying is nonsense that doesn't make any sense and isn't real. She's like, I like real math, not whatever the fuck you're talking about.
I don't know. Like, there's a whole point where his dad is like, "Oh, the surface of a cone is analogous to whatever thing," and she's like, but cones are 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why he said the fucking surface, dumbass." Like, what? How do you? This is literally like, like 6th grade level stuff. Like, this is how are you teaching high school math? I was upset with her.
See, this is your this is your editing pass that I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't give a fuck.
Just make her be excited about what he's saying. You don't even have to like just take out her lines and make her be excited too. And Marco will just spend the whole time being like, "They're fucking nerding out. I don't care."
Mhm.
Right? Until he
Yeah.
realizes what it is. It's fine. But
But Will, you've studied conic
conic sections, yeah.
conic sections, haven't you?
Eh, the last time I learned anything about
I'm
conic
quoting the
sections,
book,
I think
by
I
the
was
way.
in I think the last time I did anything with conic sections, I was in 8th grade, younger than Marco is in this book.
I couldn't tell you when or if I ever studied conic sections. So,
Algebra 2.
all right. I mean, that is a class I took. So I'll take your
So,
word for it.
I don't know. Whatever.
I don't like math. It's for nerds. Can we move on from I don't want to talk about fucking
Okay.
cones anymore.
Okay, well let's okay.
I'm
So
Marco. I'm doing a pre-homework channel surf. That's my kind of shit.
well let me piggyback off your writing thing the way I was thinking about saying earlier.
Okay.
One thing about this book, it does feel differently written from Ms. Jarrow's other books. I feel like in those there's a lot more how do I describe this? Like there's a lot more like, "Oh, let's like take time to dwell on this and like really like environmentally describe the area." You know what I mean? Like in book 41 we have scenes of Jake going through the city and we need to describe the feel and the atmosphere as we go through. In book 43 they have all the tunneling sections where Tobias like ruminates and thinks about being a Taxon. In book 33 we have all the like torture sequences with the flashback. In this we get almost none of that, right? Like almost every single scene is like extremely important to like the actual plot. Like this happens, this happens, this happens, and we don't necessarily dwell. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, but it does, I think, make this book like I would not have guessed that this was written by the same person as those other books had I not seen the name. And I think part of it is because the style doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it has to be different because things keep happening.
Yeah, I think that is an astute observation.
Oh, thank you. I love being astute.
Not something that I consciously was aware of, but you're definitely correct. This, in general, this book, I mean, even compared to some non-Ellen books, it's extremely plot heavy.
Mhm.
Almost to not quite, almost to its detriment. I don't think it hurts it too much, maybe partially just because I'm like starved for plot to occur.
Mhm.
But there are some points where I think maybe you could argue that it feels almost like it's almost like reading the Wikipedia summary of a book that like just gives you the plot
Mhm.
because it is so there's almost no time. Not no time. They do get some Marco character stuff, but a lot of it is just yeah, like you said, I'm doing this, I'm doing
Mhm.
this, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Once again, we're getting into end book discussions before we're even like
No,
halfway through
no,
part
this is a
one. But
good
yeah,
overview, I think. This is good.
yeah. No, I think yeah, because I would agree with you that I didn't have any problem with it. But I think part of the if every book were like this, maybe I wouldn't like the series as much. But I love it when they do it in this book. And like you said, I think it's because we're just starved for plot stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Ideally, this would have happened over the course of like 2 to 3 books. But since we didn't get that for 10 books, I'm like, thank God, here it is. Thank God, give it all to me now.
Yeah, yeah. It is rain in the desert.
Hmm.
But I mean, so often I feel like my note for a lot of Animorphs books is just, I wish there was just 30 more pages. Like you don't even need that much, but you just need more time to breathe in these things.
Hmm.
Even with the ending of this one, where that frequently that happens, where the endings feel like they're abrupt because you just got to go, because it's almost like the authors are writing this and then they just hit an arbitrary page count and they're like, oops, I ran out of space, sum it up, okay, next book. But
Yeah.
anyway, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Z
All right.
space.
Z space. That they invented Z space or something. They're on the verge of a breakthrough. They've mathematically thought about Z space and they're like actually interacting with it on some level.
I mean, here's what's crazy about this book.
Hmm.
This isn't, I was reading, I'm in chapter 1 and 2. I'm like, holy shit, this
Hmm.
this is the revelation. And you can
Yeah.
argue this isn't even, maybe, depends on your point of view, this might not even be the revelation of this book.
Yeah.
I
I
think
wouldn't
there's,
have. Yeah. Post this
yeah,
book, I wouldn't call this the revelation, but it certainly is one.
yeah. So it's like there's multiple revelations happening.
Hmm.
Crazy,
I
crazy.
do think it's kind of interesting that like, it feels like his dad is doing like pure research, which I feel like is done a lot less these days than it was like back in like the 50s or whatever, right? Like what is his dad working on that leads them to just revolutionize physics? You know what I mean? Like he's working for a company. He's not like part of academia just doing he's an engineer building stuff for a company and yet they've like found some new frontier in our understanding of the universe and like I feel like that's only happening if they're being given money by the company to just kind of do things that seem like they might be valuable. Like, is it, what are you doing? I don't know. Just hire some smart guys to do stuff and we'll use it, like a Bell Labs type situation.
He's doing what Goldblum is doing in The Fly. He
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
giving,
No.
yeah,
And,
doing
and
his
like,
thing.
and like, that is like, that used to be a thing. And I feel like it's just not anymore.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions. Well, not a lot, maybe one or two specifically,
Hmm.
for me, about the exact nature of this discovery
Hmm.
and how it occurred and why, which I'm not sure if they've fully explained, but I feel like that's something maybe we talk about as we keep going.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things I feel like it's never really fully explained in the series going forward, but there's plenty of hints as to what could be happening. We already see the suggestion from Axe that this could just be a Yerk trick, that the Yerks kind of planted this idea with the idea that if a human lab starts developing this stuff, then the Andalites could come in, or like might show up, or it could be a purely human discovery that just happened to happen. Or another thing that's not explored here, but I think is worth considering because it got brought up many, many, many books ago, is that in book 8, Axe did like rewrite a bunch of code in his dad's computer, Marco's dad's computer specifically, thinking that it was a game to fix the theoretical mistakes. And that was the book where he was considering like using Z space to like he was trying to figure out how to contact the Andalite fleet. So it is fully possible that like some of those things that he did made their way into his dad's lab and take what is it, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know how long it's been, but give it several years and it just naturally did in fact lead to a breakthrough discovery. And for me that's what I imagine happened here.
I mean, I like that explanation the best, but they don't. Of course, that's
Yeah.
not canon.
Yeah, no, but the canon is vague enough. It's just there's a bunch of
Yeah.
explanations hinted at. It's not like that is hinted at any less than the other things, I
Well, I
think,
mean, the biggest
personally.
question, isn't it? You're probably going to tell me, no, it's perfectly logical, but they come up with the exact same name for it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
that's a bit weird. That's maybe the biggest thing that's making me think, oh well, maybe the Yerks planted this idea in someone's head.
I mean that to me just felt like creative license on the part of the artist because like his dad described Z space in these technical terms, and I think it makes more sense than the average K.A. Applegate technobabble, but it doesn't make enough sense that you as the reader should be expected to know what he's talking about,
Oh,
especially
I
if you're a
mean,
child. So I do feel like
hmm.
part of it is just like when his dad's talking about it, you don't want Marco to go, "Oh, of course that's zero space," because the reader isn't necessarily going to read it and say, "Oh, that's zero space." So you
You don't
kind of
think
need
they
his dad
are?
to give you a gimme.
I don't know. I felt like, I mean, I'm not going to claim to understand all of the technobabble, but like if you are an Animorphs reader, I feel like
Hmm.
there aren't that many concepts of this ilk, and it
Hmm.
like I kind of was seeing where they were going with it. My punch up would be, it can happen at the very end. Like his dad could like really make it explicit, and then he'd be like, it's like some kind of I don't know, we don't have a name for it, and then Marco could be like a Z space or zero
Yeah,
space, and then his dad could be like, yeah, that's good,
yeah.
That'd be my
The
punch up.
one, I mean, to be fair, it is perfectly logical and reasonable that he should be calling it zero dimensional space.
Mm.
Now, for him to then take it to, you could just call it zero space for short. That's a little dumb. But like
Yeah.
honestly, it would if you really wanted to be logical, his dad should be saying you could call it null space. But then,
Mhm.
that doesn't work. So
Yeah, but then Marco could be like null, like zero. There could be something to
that's
smooth it
true.
over a little.
That's true. His dad could say that, and Marco could be like, "That's a terrible name. Why don't you call it Z space?" And his dad would be like, "Oh, Z space. That's perfect. We'll just call it that." And Marco's like, "Oh shit, what have I done?"
Yeah, and
Now
then
the
and
Yerks will know.
he picks up the phone, he calls Axe, and he's like, Axe, it's your friend Marco. You know that new space you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. Holds it up to his dad. Okay,
Yeah,
it'd be the other way around. I don't know. Shut up. Everyone liked it. It was funny.
it was funny. I liked it. I'm everyone.
Everyone liked it. It has been a while since we've really engaged with Z Space in any meaningful way.
Hmm.
And I do like that it is coming back again here, cuz I mean, I don't think it's been a long time, I feel like, since we've really talked about it.
Yeah,
Maybe since
like
that one book when they went to wherever they went.
yeah,
And they got,
Lyra.
yeah, is
Because
that what it was? Yeah.
yeah, because like since then it's come up, but it's always just like, up. You can use it to talk. Up. We used it to move. But it doesn't really matter. It like how it works doesn't really matter other than that. Like, yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, it's like they remembered, oh wait, this is an insane science fiction concept that could just be a basis for
Hmm.
dozens of books if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then Marco is kind of fully ready to commit patricide here. He's like, I will not, if my dad's a Yurik, he basically is like, I'll just fucking kill him, right? He kind of says that.
I don't remember if he says exactly that, but yeah, like that is like a whole
He
it
doesn't
is like
say
a
I'm
whole
gonna kill
thing.
him, but he's like, I won't let another parent be taken. I'm gonna do
Hmm.
what must be done. It's some kind of ominous phrase like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's this whole thing with the Animorphs about like, can Marco be trusted? I do love the scene where Jake kind of looks to Cassie and Marco realized that he's like silently asking her if he can be trusted, and he's like, oh, Cassie just straight up was like, nope, Marco cannot be trusted to do the right thing, and Marco's like, I'll show them. I'll kill my dad too, just like I tried to kill my mom because I know what's right, and Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of dark.
Yeah, this is a very dark book, I think, too.
I would agree. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, even Cassie in this scene, one thing that we saw hinted at a lot in like the late 20s that feel like was supposed to be a bigger deal, and then they just kind of dropped it because they didn't know what to do with Cassie. Is this like Cassie is very intuitive. Cassie knows what other people are thinking and how they react, and that leads to Cassie being kind of manipulative in a way that maybe she should be less
Mm.
comfortable with. Like this idea that like Jake can just say like, don't let Marco have a say in what happens with his dad because he can't be trusted to make the tough call to kill him if need be. And who told me that? Cassie, because she knows that. Like that's dark, and Cassie is directly involved in it, and she should maybe have some qualms about that. I think that's a very interesting side of her character that is underexplored.
Yeah, I really liked that little exchange.
Hmm.
And yes, that is a bit unsettling for Cassie. I mean, as usual with Cassie's character, there are sometimes conflicting ideas at play of her allegiance to Jake versus her reputation for being generous and
Hmm.
kind and caring and nonviolent. Yeah, I agree with you. It's unexplored is the right term there,
Yeah.
probably. But I liked that little moment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I complained about Ellen before, and how like I was
Ugh,
like, oh, I don't even know if she gets Cassie
fuck
because
you.
she's weird about violence or whatever. But in this book, even though Cassie doesn't do much, the couple of things she does do feel very spot on. So I think that's better here. So I don't have the little uh, bug in my pants over that. Whatever.
Oh yeah, is that what I? Yeah, that's what they say. Okay. Here's
It's like
another.
three phrases together. Yeah, tell me.
Let me read this one to you. You're not gonna like this either.
Uh oh.
It's Marco. Jake continued. You keep watch on the home front. I'll check with Eric to see what he knows. We'll compare notes in the morning. Axe morphed to Northern Harrier and flapped up toward Tobias. I want to go with them, I said. So morphing into something takes, as we know, like around 2 minutes. So again, I just feel like there's just everyone just paused while Axe was morphing into a bird. They all just like kind of watched him. He flew up, and then Marco was like, "I want to go with him." I don't. It just feels like a similar thing to me.
You're
It's
the
like
only person on earth who's ever had this problem with
I.
this book.
It's like, did you ever watch The Wonder Years?
No,
You never watched The Wonder Years?
I don't think so.
Kevin Arnold, Fred Savage. He got Me
Wait.
Too'd years later.
Yeah, that would be why. Because I'm a good person, I wouldn't
You always
participate.
wait to watch a show
I
just in case.
Well, I just always know whenever I
Oh,
am like
you could
I
tell.
avoid media with bad people in it. I just know that in the future they're gonna get canceled.
Well, well, in that show, he always does a voiceover. So, like, the future him is always like, my mom always made me breakfast and I really liked it, but I could always tell, blah, blah, blah. But
I mean, I know that trope.
yeah. And then, like, there's this thing on the internet where someone took clips from the Wonder Years and they removed his voiceover. And if you watch the show that way, it's literally him and his mom just like the camera cutting back and forth, just staring at each other in silence. And then like 30 seconds later, so do you want breakfast? You're like, what the fuck? This is insane. What's going on? That's sort of how I feel. So, just a little bit
So,
in these
so what
parts.
you're saying is that they constructed the art in a specific way so that it flows and makes sense. But if you take it apart so that it no longer is constructed in that way, then it feels disjointed. Which, like,
Mhm.
yeah, no shit.
That is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's like if you took a 3-panel comic and then put each panel like on a different like chapter, and it's like, how come this feels weird now? It's because it's not supposed to be like that.
I don't agree with this comic comparison. I don't think it's analogous. I think it's a different
I'm
thing.
just saying that it works in context. It's only when you're like deconstructing it, and it's like, well, sure, you've deconstructed it. Of course, it doesn't work now. I don't know. I just think you're wrong.
Well, the listeners will decide.
Yeah, they go read if you haven't read the book, go read it and see if you have this problem, and then write in and tell us about your experience.
The listeners,
YorkieBoys@gmail.com.
look, I know no one's gonna side with me on this. Okay, I accept it. I accept it. It's
You're
fine.
very brave.
Hmm. I am. Um, did we
I
get to Tom yet, or that's not yet?
That's not yet, no.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, not yet. What about Axe here? Getting very, very upset about the fact that human beings might have like he gets even more upset later, and I quite like it. But
Yeah, no,
already we
that's good.
start seeing him. He's very offended by the idea that human beings, they didn't make Z space. Are you kidding me? This must be a Yerk thing. There's no way. There's no way.
I think Axe is really good in this book, and
Hmm.
some Axe can be. I feel like 50% of the time he doesn't quite feel right.
Hmm.
His like either he's too goofy or too serious, and maybe it's because he has this thing to focus on. This feels like a very good Axe subplot for him to be hung up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because I also, it's not even just the subplot. Like he also has lines unrelated to the subplot that I like quite like later. Yeah, Axe is very good. This book does a good job. I was just saying it doesn't take time to go do other things. It's just boom, 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 one event to the next. But I do think like the singular lines that other characters get when they pop in do a lot of heavy lifting. They're well written. This book is well put together, I think.
Yes, I agree. This is one of the best showcases for all the characters in terms of feeling on the mark.
Hmm.
The issues I have in that regard are more towards the end of the book with perhaps certain other characters.
Other
Let's
characters you
see.
always have problems with, perhaps.
Oh, well, yeah, them too. I wasn't thinking about
Oh,
them.
okay. Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
but we'll see. Another thing I like in this book, at least early on, Marco's
Uh-huh.
keeps worrying about this math test, and also I think Cassie is studying for it while they're in the barn or something.
Oh yeah,
And
didn't I feel like Cassie like just last book mentioned some math test? Is this
oh
continuity?
man, I hope so. But I
Holy
did.
shit.
I like when they have a reminder that these are still kids going to school, because I do think
Mhm.
lately we have lost some of that. That it's just been so all about the not even lately, it's probably for a long time, so all about the weird alien shit. But I liked in the earlier books when it was just also, and we got to worry about our pop quiz tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
this is a
That's fun.
good book to remind you of that because the revelations hit harder in this book when you realize that normal might not be normal anymore. Uh,
Yeah.
like it works. So I think it is important to establish that, and it is too bad that the last book was just in fucking Australia as opposed to like hammering down on their kids in school aspect to make this one
Yeah.
stand out
Why
better. But
wasn't Cassie
whatever.
like, I'm gonna have to make up so much homework or something? Oh, I
Yeah, I
guess
guess
I
she.
guess they have cheese, so they don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Last time they did take the math test and the Chi did too well on it, and Cassie was like, "Now my parents think I'm smart," which they also did with Marco.
Yeah. Cassie's smart. Come on.
Yeah, she just well, the problem is that she doesn't have time to study,
Hmm.
and she's not so smart that she doesn't study.
I feel like that was a thing early on. Doesn't she? Didn't wasn't there some kind of contradiction where
Mm.
she at one point she was got good grades, but then in another one she was like failing a class, and I
Oh yeah, or that like happened in the same book or something, so we pointed it out. I don't know.
or maybe it was just that she was failing something, and I just didn't believe it because I thought Cassie's like a Lisa Simpson and she should just be acing everything. It's a little bit unclear because again, because we don't really spend time in their school work. Like
Hmm.
obviously Marco's a kind of a slacker,
Hmm.
but I don't really have a sense of. I remember at one point Rachel was getting some kind of scholarly award for
Yeah,
something.
like Rachel is definitely supposed to be intelligent and like relatively hardworking. I see Cassie as more like very dedicated and hardworking, not like an exceptional student, but like always like or at least before the Animorphs, she always gets everything done on time and always does what she's told and always works very, very hard to get like good grades and like maybe she doesn't put in or maybe she has to put in a little more effort than like Rachel does to get those same grades, but she does it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of how I see her.
And Jake, just a straight B's across the board, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. Jake is a perfectly reasonable student. Jake's the type where Chapman is like, if you applied yourself, you'd be great. And it's like, that's not really true. But also, he doesn't really apply himself, but he's not a slacker either. He's just fine. He's
Yeah.
fine.
He's gonna go to a college on like on a sports scholarship, or he'll join a frat, and he'll just be like that kind of guy.
Jake is exactly the type of guy to join a frat and then like be like, well, we can't do any of that bad frat behavior anymore, guys, and like turn them all into like good hard studying working kids.
All right, let's keep going.
All right, now that we've spent a half an hour on the first like 2 chapters.
Listen, there's a lot of the big stuff gets set up here, so
it's true. It's true. All right, so Marco has gone back home while the others go and do all their junk. So that night at around 11 p.m., Marco's dad gets a call. Marco also picks up the phone to answer it at the same time, and he hears what happens on this call. So I don't know if the Zoomers out there know, but on a home phone line, if you picked up, I think we've gone over this before with Tom, but he can overhear it. It's not like a cell phone or whatever. Anyway, so Jack from work is calling his dad, and apparently Russ from work.
Now this is a human being, right?
Yes, this is not the Easter Bunny puppy.
Okay, just clarifying.
But Russ got into a car accident and died. So his coworker Russ is apparently dead. And they want Marco's dad to come over and help comfort Russ's wife because he has experience losing a spouse, and they know each other and whatever. So his dad leaves, and Marco kind of puts 2 and 2 together and goes, "Oh shit, this is a trap, and they're going to infest him." He calls up Rachel. This is also, he tries calling Jake first, and there's like a Tom moment, but he calls Rachel and is like, "I'm going to get my dad. I need backup." So he morphs Osprey. He flies there, and his dad is already getting infested when he arrives. And Marco's like, "Well, shit, I gotta let this happen because they'll just keep coming for us. If we free him, we'll out ourselves and we'll be fucked." But then he's like, no, fuck this. And he morphs into a gorilla and busts in and attacks. He like literally pulls the yerk out of his dad's ear and grabs him out of their little pool. There's a giant fight. Rachel shows up, more fighting. They get out, and there's like a big car chase as they try to speed away from the police. And once they get away, his dad is freaking out and trying to run away. And so Marco, to stop him, Marco demorphs in front of him. Dun dun dun. There's the revelation for you.
Yeah, I'm revelated.
Revelated. This is a big deal action sequence with massive ramifications for the series, and we're like, what, 6 chapters in? 7 something?
Yeah,
6.
Early in.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna comment on the blatant addresses and exit numbers that are being given away here.
Yeah.
What can you do? We just have to move on. Now I commented on it by saying I wasn't gonna. That's how I get them. It's all of this is fucked up. Like, to me, this is the beginning of how dark and sad this book is. Specifically for Marco and his dad. Poor Marco's already got his mom as a yerk, and now he's like about to see his dad get taken to. It's very traumatic. But also, the question that I think you just kind of got to overlook, I guess, is why didn't the yerks take his dad a long time ago? Why did they? I understand why they want him now, but has he always been unbeknownst to him, part of a Yerk science program, or like what exactly is the nature of that relationship and oversight? It's all
Yeah.
very unclear to me.
To me, that's the biggest evidence that this was just a purely human endeavor, that Axe injected
Mm,
that idea in and they did this, that the Yerks are only just finding out now at the same time. And so that's why that Marco did, and that's why they're coming after them all now and scooping up the lab. Because if it was a long time trap, you're right, they would have gotten him a long time ago. It's never like established that this was definitely a trap for the Animorphs. So to me, like this works better if we just say it wasn't. It wasn't. They just made that breakthrough.
yeah, yeah, that does make a lot more sense. But then of course it's him and Rachel,
Yes. Yeah, I
the
feel like
dream team.
we don't there was a point early on where we like maybe in the 20s where we started talking about like oh like you know what I mean like when they split off into different teams like the team composition type thing like
Mm.
oh this is a Rachel what's it like what's the dynamic when it's like Axe Tobias and Marco or in this case Marco and Rachel or whatever and I feel like we haven't discussed that much but it's kind of an underrated aspect like I like this is a good team. Marco and Rachel's a good team for when you need to do something a little bit out of control, but you need it to be like you need it to be focused. It can't just be Rachel with backup like a Rachel Tobias team or even a Rachel Tobias Cassie team. Uh but like you know, it needs to be focused through Marco, but you don't want someone like Jake making good decisions
No, no,
or
no, no, no.
Cassie making moral decisions.
That's
Marco's
right.
like, let's fuck it up because it's the ruthless thing. And Rachel goes, yeah.
But Marco also, I mean, in a way, this is a moral decision. Well,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's moral. It's also like it's selfish in a way, but for moral reasons.
Hmm.
But it's also, I mean, I think we'll. Yeah, I don't know if it's later
Yeah.
that this comes
Yeah.
up more, but
When they talk about the implications of what they've done, like it's a little bit later from here, but that certainly is
yeah.
something that I was taking note of
But
later.
I definitely felt like Rachel can just be out of control and just want violence and rage.
Hmm.
But in this book it feels like her thirst for violence is feeding a more reasonable instinct. At least to me, I was
Hmm.
reading this and I was on totally like, yes, I'm on board with Rachel. This book, like, I'm sick of fucking pussyfooting around. Like, let's just
Hmm.
fucking go. Like, Marco's, oh no, they're gonna find out who. Fine, let's just fucking get some shit done. Which is maybe
Hmm.
again our hunger for plot is what that is.
Yeah. I mean, I got more notes about this later
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
when
getting
they
ahead of
talk about it. Do we
ourselves.
want to save it for there?
Yeah,
Because
let's
I
save it. Let's save it.
okay.
Let's save it. Because I don't even
That way I
remember when
don't
that
have to scroll
happens.
down.
Yeah. But anyway, this is. I did appreciate this. You know, I'm going to give Ellen credit, in in the writing department, in spite of my earlier issues, my quibbles.
Hmm.
When he's a gorilla, he rescues
Hmm.
his dad. He starts talking to his dad, and they specifically mention that he disguises his voice in thought speak, which no one else seems to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does that almost make it worse because it implies they should have been doing that? Like, if we don't know how it works, then we can just say, "Listen, I don't know how it works. Maybe it was fine." But now that we know that that's a thing, now we know it definitely wasn't fine.
But I feel like we did know that's how it works. I like. Otherwise, how do they know when someone says something? Is it just a psychic thing in their brain that they know? Oh, that's Cassie wavelength.
Yeah, I don't know. Marco's doing like the Spider Verse thing,
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
to
yeah,
his dad in the in the deep voice to try to pretend to be someone else.
yeah. Or and literally any superhero story where they have
Sure.
to talk to someone they know. But yeah,
Yeah. But like specifically when it's like a kid, so they got to make themselves sound deep like I'm an adult.
yeah. Which is, I mean, it still calls into question. Like, wait, so in your own brain, couldn't you? Like, it'd be cool if ThoughtSpeak worked the way your head, where you could just imagine any voice and just perfectly imitate it. Like, you could do. Imagine if Marco had access to pitch perfect impressions of any celebrity in
Mhm.
ThoughtSpeak.
And
He'd be
speak
cracking them up.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he must not have pitch perfect because that's how it would It would say that, like every book. It would be like Marco said, sounding exactly like Jay Leno.
I bet I bet Cassie could do it. I think it's an Estreen
Hmm.
thing. I
Hmm.
think the better you are at morphing, it's like, it's like being the one in the Matrix. Like, you can unlock that power to, like, no, there is no spoon. Free your mind, and you too can do a Schwarzenegger impression.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Anyway,
Uh, yeah, no, I think that's good.
he rips the door hinges off. He rips the car door off. He gets in as a gorilla.
As a gorilla, yeah, we get some Marco driving. That's always fun.
He morphs in front of his dad. I mean, I'm freaking out at this point.
Mm. Oh
I'm
yeah,
losing my shit.
It's a huge deal. I don't want to talk about morphing in front of his dad just yet because we
All
got more of that
right.
coming. And you specifically said you wanted to talk about this Tom thing,
Oh,
so I want to
yeah.
make sure you get a chance to do that.
Oh, I just liked that Tom uses *69 to call him back. And it actually is kind of scary when he does it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
Zoomers
good.
might not know about *69, but that's okay.
Well, back in the day, you didn't necessarily know who was calling you the way that you do now. So,
I
so
like he
Tom is
gets
like,
so pissed off. He's like, "Who's calling me?" He's really mad.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he was in a bad mood, but it could also just be like this. This might not be the first time this has happened. Marco might sometimes just call, get Tom, and hang up, and Tom's like, "I'm fucking sick of it. Fucking sick of it."
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah, tell me.
Zoomers don't understand that you used to call a friend up and you'd have to, sometimes their parents would answer and
Uh
you'd have
huh.
to be like, "Can I talk to whoever?"
Hmm.
Terrible, horrible experience for me as a kid. One time, so I had my friend and I, we used to, we'd watch Family Matters in the afternoon, not like together, but just that was
Where's this going?
it's the complete tangent.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with Animorphs. But I asked you if you wanted to hear a funny story, and you said
Okay.
yes.
Well, then let's hear. Okay. Okay. You can keep going.
And I, I was watching Steve Urkel, and sometimes he comes over to the Winslow household, and in the one episode he goes, "Howdy ho, Winslow." He probably says that like every episode. Or
Hmm.
actually, no, I think he said howdy ho, Nate. Or no, now I'm confusing with Flanders. I think he just said
Hmm.
Winslow. I think it was like howdy ho, Winslow, or something. And
Hmm.
I called my friend, and like his mom picked up the phone, and I didn't realize we were young, so probably our voices didn't drop yet. And I just immediately said howdy ho, Winslow.
Hmm.
And it was my friend's mom and not him. And they just didn't even respond to me and just put the phone away, and they were like, it's your fucking weird friend. I don't know what they said past the phone. But that was just a little story. As I remember that. I still feel a little bit of shame about what I did that day.
That's good.
And that's
That's a
what
good
kind of what
story.
Marco went through in this scenario.
That is a Marco problem. Like that's the sort of thing that Marco would do and then be like, "Oops."
Yeah. Like, Jake, it's fucking Marco. Jesus Christ. Take
I
the
mean,
phone.
isn't that basically Tom's reaction? He's like, "Oh, it's Marco. I was trying to get Jake," and Tom's like, "Fuck it, whatever, fine, okay." Christ
Yeah, it's
Almighty.
like, like, Jesus Christ. Both Tom and the Yerk are like, "Oh my god, Marco." Fuck.
Here he comes. Yeah, we got Star 69. His dad also uses Yahoo Maps too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like when Marco's trying to figure out, oh shit, where did my dad go? Yahoo Maps. It's modern
Yeah,
ish.
we're still like not MapQuest and not Google Maps, which I feel
Hmm.
like Google Maps was definitely later. Maybe MapQuest was around? I was always a MapQuest guy
Yeah, my
myself.
parents definitely were MapQuest people, but I, I don't remember that earlier than like 2004, but it might have been. I don't actually know.
Yeah,
I
I
just don't
mean,
have memories.
it wasn't, I mean, I couldn't drive yet at this point.
I mean,
but
yeah.
but man, I remember printing out those MapQuests and having to figure that out while driving. Oh, Christ.
Hmm.
Thank God for GPS. Thank God. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Now can we get to the morphing or what?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You
So I mean,
know,
this is a big deal.
this is extremely important. This is
Yeah.
pivotal.
I mean, were you even like when you were reading this the first time, like what were you even thinking? Like you're going in, you're like, oh, he found out about zero space. Okay. Oh shit, he's getting infested. Oh shit, Marco's morphing. Like I bet you were, and we're just barely starting the book. It's crazy.
Yes, it's a real 1, 2, 3 punch kind of a
Hmm.
situation. Because you could easily have a whole book just about the Z space, but then they're like, no, we're kicking this shit up a notch. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the
Bam.
thing. This is like the Dexter moment.
I don't know what that means.
Like all of Dexter, you're waiting, not Dexter's Lab, but the serial killer.
Yeah, you
You're
watched all of that,
Yeah, which I've watched
all eight
all
seasons.
all 9 seasons if you count the reboot season.
Yeah.
Prequel in the works right now. They all You're always going, well, when's it going to happen that they find out Dexter's a serial killer? Like
Hmm.
that's like the thing that every episode you're waiting to see if that's going to happen. And
Hmm.
and this is I guess it's not the thing, but I'd say one of the big things in these books is, are they going to find out they're Animorphs? Now, usually in a superhero story, it's like your friend that finds out. In this case, the only friends they have know about it, so it's
Hmm.
just their parents.
Well, then
But
Melissa, but she doesn't count.
sure,
She's not a real
and
friend.
Juan and Terry, but
Right. Well,
you
they are real
still
friends.
you have this is the moment. Like this is very big. It's very exciting, and there's definitely part of me too that's thinking, like, are they gonna at the end of the book that she wipe his memory? Is this
Hmm.
really really happening?
Hmm. It's
But
really, really happening.
yeah, it sure seems that way at this point. Certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know how much of a marketing campaign there was for this because I feel like I know the preview chapter from the last book did say that this was going to happen. Like it did have Marco
Wow,
revealing himself to his dad in the preview chapter.
boy, that would really
And
piss you off after reading that Australia book. You're like, I could have been reading that.
yeah, I mean, I feel like the problem was like there must have been more marketing, but like at that point, I was already in the exhaustion stage, and then that book already pissed me off, and I don't really remember this as like a moment. You know what I mean? Like I remember being like, oh, okay, they did it, but it doesn't. I don't remember it as this like extreme thing the way that some of the other reveals were like big events or gigantic things for me.
Mm.
Like it doesn't have that impact. And like I said, I think it's just because I was coming off of being drained and exhausted with the series, which is too bad. Like if they'd done this one book earlier, maybe, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, but it sure it hit me. It still hit me, and
Yeah.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we're gonna his dad's gonna learn a lot more. It's also a bigger deal for Marco's dad than probably any other character because of the Visser One baggage.
Yes,
So, like
because of the
anyone else's
baggage.
parents, I mean, maybe I guess Jake's family, because he would have to tell him about Tom. That would actually be a
Hmm.
pretty big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's still not as big a deal as turns out your ex-wife is alive and leading an alien invasion.
yeah, and especially right when his dad is probably feeling like he's finally moved on. He's remarried. His son is cooking pizza for his new wife. Like his life, everything is going great for him now.
Yeah.
He's finally overcome his trauma and his heartbreak.
Yeah.
And bam.
Yeah. Well, let me do this next little section here because
Yeah,
that's very much more explored in this section here.
yeah,
It's not that long, but it's big things happen.
yeah.
Um, so the next
Revelations.
couple chapters here. Okay, so Marco and his dad they get burgers from a diner. We were talking about the diner earlier, and Marco explains everything to his dad. Like literally, just tells him everything that's been happening. We get the scene where he like morphs halfway into an ant and then sort of morphs into a bird just to be like, "No, Dad, this is like a real thing. I'm not just bullshitting you. That wasn't like no, I can just do this whatever I want." Um, they have some conversations. His dad like talks to Nora on a payphone, and Marco like cuts him off. It's a whole thing. And Marco takes his dad to Eric the Cheese house to hide him. Um, so they take his dad down to the underground dog park, and he gets put there. And the Chi, the plan at this point is that the Chi are gonna imitate Marco and his dad and just hope that if the Yeerks try to assassinate them, that they can survive Dragon blasts and stuff. Um, so this is really where we get like the conversation, like the dynamic. Like Marco and his
Gene
dad are now
Hackman.
dealing with this new reality. The dynamic has totally changed between them. It's a huge deal, right?
Yes, and at first Marco does not tell him about his mom,
Yeah.
but then he tells him like a chapter later, so it's not that big a
Yeah.
deal.
I think it's the same chapter, but yeah.
Which is a little bit, again, it feels like in a longer book or a longer or a better outlined series overall, maybe you could have drawn that out a little more.
Yeah,
But
there are some editing parts in here that I like you could take a pass over with that. Like what's the point of not telling him and then telling him 3 pages later? It's I guess it's just so they can have the phone call with Nora before he finds out that information. It reads kind of weird. There's also bits like Marco shows up at the cheese house and his dad's like, "What the fuck?" And Marco's like, "No, Dad, this is the chi. Remember I told you?" And he's like, "Oh." And it's like I don't why you it's kind of weird, right? Like he either should be like, okay, this is too much weird stuff, and you've already told me about it, and I'm just kind of going through it in a daze, or he should be like, wait, there's even more crap, and that
mm,
second one does make more sense, right? Like Marco's already telling about an alien invasion. His wife's alive. His kids can morph. But I guess he also was like, also there's chi. Also there's an Elemist and a Drode. And there was a time we went back in time and killed all the dinosaurs and Hitler. Like, did he literally tell him everything? Like you don't have to tell him about the chi. It's not necessary until you go there. Just be like, listen, Dad, there's even more weird shit. Don't worry about it yet. They're good. The alien dogs deal with it. And his dad will be like, oh my God. Like, it's fine.
yeah, we don't have confirmation that he tells him about the Elemist.
No.
I have to assume he doesn't, but
I
yeah, yeah.
guess.
I mean, why would he tell him about the chi? I don't. Maybe because he was like, by the way, remember those weeks when I maybe seemed like I was
Mm.
better behaved than usual? Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
robot. It does really
I mean, I
drive
guess if he's
home.
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that the fact having to tell his dad this does really make you sit back and reckon with how much insane shit happens in this series.
Yeah.
That the real reaction to being told this information would be, you're fucking crazy. I refuse to believe this. I mean, he sees him morph, so that's the real linchpin. He has to accept it.
Yeah. But even that, and I like how that's handled, even that, like, it all starts when he sees him demorph from a gorilla after a giant fight with aliens happens and he's
Right.
getting a slug put in his ear, and his first thought is just like, yeah, I'm still not sure I believe you because that was something fucked up and terrifying happened, but like what I'm supposed to believe that you turned into a gorilla? I don't know. I was panicking. I was fucked up. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
It
The
makes
human
more sense
brain,
that something weird happened.
you'll rationalize it however you need
Yeah,
to make it make sense and to convince yourself you're not nuts, or just tell yourself you are nuts, because otherwise your
yeah,
brain will just snap.
yeah. But then Marco starts morphing in front of him, and it's like, well, even if I'm nuts, this is the reality now.
There's really
Yeah.
no. The best way would be to like give him all the books and say you should probably
Mm.
read these in order so the information gets doled out to you little by little, because
Right.
it's a lot to take in all in one conversation.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to start on episode 45 of a podcast, for example,
His
or
dad's
whatever the
like
fuck we're on.
60 something. His dad's like, wait, so there's the Nartek are live in the ocean? He's got to know all about that.
Yeah, he's got it. Garatrons. It's all important.
He laid it all out for him. And Dad, this is the Spling Beast from Plantarion 9.
This is when we went and saw the Andalite toilet.
Remember I told you about that Andalite toilet? Remember when I told you about the Buffahuman? There it is.
Uh,
You know about Helmicrons, right, Dad?
I wonder if he told his dad about Helmicrons. You know, a couple weeks ago where I was all getting mean and aggressive because I had rabies, but it's okay because I morphed to fix it. There were also a bunch of weird little alien bugs inside me. Yeah.
There's a lot. It's really, Marco's dad is a champ for taking this all in.
Mhm.
And he's also a champ for just this is just so sad for him,
Mhm.
as I said before. It's also very fucked up for Nora,
Oh,
who
yeah.
Marco they basically say your stepmom is already dead. You know.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is a big thing here, and we're gonna get even more into it later, but this book and what happens with Nora is one of the more fucked up things in this series. That Marco does, I think,
Mm.
like, specifically. Um, so, like, okay, so Marco saves his dad, and then
Uh,
he's like, it's too late to go back for Nora, and then he takes his dad to the Chi, right?
mm,
Now, if if this was Cassie or Jake or, Marco's quote
mm,
unquote real mom,
mhm,
he definitely would have said, Rachel, you got to go back and get Nora because they're coming to get her. And then, even if it was too late, he'd be like, we got to go check and make sure that it's not too late and see if we can save her. But instead, he just kind of, and he actively says he makes the decision. He says he chose not to go back in this book. He actively makes the decision to just say, leave it, right? Leave it. Nora's a lost cause. It's not even worth putting the effort in. Let her get taken. And there's a sense that he's intentionally doing this out of this idea that, like, well, now that my dad is getting freed, and he knows my mom's alive, of course he'll just want to put my family back together the same way I want to do that. So fuck Nora, write her off. Like, I get that sense here. Like, there's a whole bit in here where his dad says to Marco, listen, even though your mom is still alive, I love Nora and I love her as much as I loved your mom. And Marco is just like, oh, well, that like shatters all of my dreams. Like, everything that I'd imagined is gone now. Like, there's this sense that Marco is actively throwing Nora away in an attempt to put his parents back together. And it's fucked up.
yeah. Well, I don't. I think he explicitly says at one point. I forget exactly how he phrases it, but he says something along the lines of like, I think maybe I did it on like I wanted her out of our lives.
Yeah, he definitely says a lot to that extent over the course of this book.
And I get the sense that it's less. I don't think it's malicious, if that's the right word, or at least not consciously. Like, I think because he clearly feels guilty about it. But
Hmm.
I do think I don't know how to exactly phrase it. He definitely does it on purpose, but it's almost like he's lying to himself about it, or he's saying in the moment, oh, it's not safe, we don't have time, it's too late, which very well could be true. But like you said, if it were anyone else, those excuses wouldn't matter to him.
Yeah.
So there is like, he's not making that next step that if it were Jake, he would, of course, go back no matter what. It's like, yes. So there's this part of him but I think he feels bad about it. I think he recognizes that this is something
Yeah.
he did and it was wrong.
He does recognize it, but I feel like there is some, like, Marco is the kind of guy who confronts these things head on. Like, I feel like like, in the moment, yeah, he makes those decisions, but like afterwards, when he reflects on it, he thinks back and he's like, yes, I did make that decision. Like, in the moment, I wasn't thinking about it, I just did it, but I did do it, and that's why I did it, and I feel bad about it, but also that is why I did it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's very fucked up. It's very dark, and it honestly gets darker.
Well,
I
I think
think.
to me, maybe the darkest part of it is from Nora's perspective.
Hmm.
Well, we haven't gotten to what happens next, but she's just a yerks in her head. She also, in a roundabout way, is having the same revelations that Marco's dad is having.
Yeah,
By the way, do we know his first name?
I don't know his first name. I don't know if we do.
Okay. So he's just Marco's dad, whatever.
Hmm.
Um but she is also having to deal with being yerked, having no control of herself. Her husband and stepson disappeared. It's just
Hmm.
like it's a complete fucking nightmare for her. At least Marco's dad is free and can kind of try to come to terms with all of this. She's just in a nightmare world forever, like everyone with a
Mhm.
Yerk is basically.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's
yeah,
fucked. It's definitely fucked, and yeah,
and poor Euclid.
I
You know that
know, poor
Yerk's not giving
Euclid.
Euclid the same love that Nora does.
That's true. Euclid's getting kicked every day. Euclid might even end up getting fried by a Dracon. They might be. Nora goes out.
No.
Oh, my poor dog ran away. I better put up some pictures that are all over town. And that's what she says to our colleagues secretly. Euclid's a pile of ash in the living room.
No, what the fuck? Why would you say that?
I'm just telling it like it is.
That's the real reason Marco doesn't go back. But we do get the chi, so that's fun.
Yeah, we do get the chi.
Mr.
Uh,
King.
Mr. King. I do like when Marco brings his dad to the door. I like that little interaction. I think that's a lot of fun where Eric sees him and his dad and goes, "Uh-oh." And Marco goes, "Yeah, I know." And Eric goes, "Does he?" It's good.
And it's also very good that his dad, the scientist's whatever engineer part of his brain kicks in and he's like, "Oh, this is fascinating. There's robots. How do they work?"
Mhm.
That's a fun
Fucking
interaction.
robots.
He sexually harasses Eric.
I guess you could characterize it that way if you wanted.
He essentially grabs him by the pussy, is what he does.
I mean, I guess.
Listen, he pulled his hand out, then stuck it inside again, this time at waist level. That's what Marco's dad does to Eric. And Eric doesn't like it. He doesn't consent. It
I suppose
makes him unhappy.
that's true. That is what happens. You're right.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's a fucked up book.
Um, and yeah, then they say they're gonna disguise themselves. The Shi are gonna disguise themselves. I do like this version of Eric, honestly,
Mhm.
more than I have liked him in many other books,
Mhm.
where he basically says they're like, "What? But if you disguise yourself as us, the Yerks might shoot you, and at full power, you could still die." And Eric says, "My programming only forbids me to use violence." Even in the best of causes, it doesn't forbid me to die. That's badass.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's some like laws of robotics type shit there.
There's some laws of robotics we'll get into later that I don't like as much, but that I thought was cool. And I was like, why? I wish we saw more of this Eric. This Eric is cool. Give me
Mhm.
more of him.
Yeah. Eric has some good moments over the series. I still like Eric.
Yeah, sure. Because you relate to him.
Do I?
Yeah, because you suck.
That's the best you got, huh?
That's all I need.
Sure. How do you feel about Marco? There's a weird sort of role shift in this section
Yeah.
where Marco is sort of like re-parentified in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like his dad is the authority figure before, but Marco's over here like, can't let you do that, Dad. I'm making all the calls, Dad. I know you want to go back for Nora, but we can't do that. I gotta hang up. You gotta listen to me. I know what's best. And it's like I wish you could still be my dad and you could still give the orders, but I have to do it. It's a fun little dynamic thing, and I think it is made a little bit better by the fact that this is not the first time Marco has had to do this with his dad. Like his because years ago when his dad had a breakdown, Marco was like cooking all the meals and doing all the shopping and blah blah blah.
Mm.
So it's a little bit, I don't know. It feels more powerful that he has to fall back. He's falling back into it rather than just taking on the role.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that, but I did think that was an interesting, fun reversal, and again, probably something that maybe could have been explored even more. But there's still enough
Mhm.
of it it's just adding to how difficult this is for his dad to understand all this. That he also has to accept that his son, his 15-year-old son or whatever, is in charge of this revolution, and he has to do everything he says because he has all the control and power. It's like this is just his entire worldview is completely thrown into chaos.
Yeah, and he's not like in a weird depression spiral like he was last time. Like he is still Marco. Like references. He says like, oh, his dad went into like authority figure dad mode at one time or something like that. Like he still has this mentality of like, but I'm the adult and I'm supposed to be taking care of you, and it just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
it's good.
We should probably try to move a little faster.
I suppose you're right. All right. So okay. So the dad with the chi. All the Animorphs meet up at the barn to discuss the situation that they're in. They're like, okay, listen, this is really bad. The fact that Marco's dad got saved could be the beginning of us like all getting hunted down one by one. But what's done is done. We got to deal with it. Um, but also, they bring up the idea that they could use a Z space communicator, right? Like they could potentially get into communication with the Andalite fleet. They could intercept your communications, and there is a very real possibility that his Marco's dad could recreate this thing with human components. Or Axe could do it with his dad's help. Don't get offended, Axe. It's okay. Um, yeah, Marco and Axe head to the Chi Park. They discuss Z space theory with his dad. They're going to be able to build something. And then we get a scene where the Chi posing as Marco and his dad are like preparing to run. They're like, oh, we got to get out of here because something weird's happening. And then controllers show up and blast them with Dracon beams. And the Chi convincingly project their deaths. Eric's dad gets pretty fucked up, but they both end up okay. And so, yeah, so now Marco and his dad are now officially, quote unquote, dead, and Nora is confirmed to be a controller at this point.
Wild.
Yeah, absolutely wild. Marco is dead. He won't be in school anymore. Jake's gonna have to deal with Tom and be like, "Yeah, my best friend is dead. It's so sad, or like missing, I guess, whatever the official story is. My best friend is missing. It's so sad." Tom inside the Yerk's head is gonna be like, "Damn, we fucking murked Marco."
Yeah. Now
It's insane.
sometimes we question the fact that they supposedly try not to hang out together too much in public so people don't identify them as a group of friends. But in light of this storyline, now it does make sense to me that because if one of them gets found out, then the other ones are probably going to get found out too.
That is true. The more, if they can make it look like they're not friends, even though it makes sense for them to be, then you have that compartmentalization at least.
Yeah, yeah, and we're seeing that kind of play out now. I kind of wish Mr. King died. I think that would have been interesting. It would have just sold the drama of it for me a little better.
Yeah.
And I don't like him.
Yeah. Right. Of course, there's that element.
What's your first name, Mr. King?
Mister.
What the fuck is your name?
I feel that when Axe goes, Oreo!
Obviously, I love it. The Chi have Oreos, and Axe loves them. It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're a professional Oreo
that.
reviewer, so.
Yeah, I approve. Now, this scene in the barn here, this is, I think, what we were alluding to earlier, where
yeah,
where they're chastising Marco for doing this, as opposed to just letting his dad get yerked. And Rachel says Marco did the right thing, and she's defending him. And this is when I'm like, yeah, fuck these nerds. Like, let's just if I'm tired of this shit. If someone's about to get yerked, just fucking save them. I'm tired of being secretive and playing things out strategically. Let's just fucking go for it, man.
Yeah,
so it's all in.
I think that this is a good little indication of like how far the Animorphs have like deteriorated as like human beings into soldiers, because like you think about the whole situation. It's just like Jake literally got into this to save his brother. Marco was going to leave, but got into this to save his family. Like, they got into this for these very personal, direct human reasons. And now we're at this point in the series and we're saying, like, yeah, okay, save your family, sure, but think about the bigger picture. We got to win the war. Like, that's a trade-off. And so even the fact that you think of it as a trade-off rather than, like, that's your primary goal is such a massive change from the beginning of the series in terms of who these kids are.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's they've gone through some shit, that's for sure. They have
Yeah.
come out the other side with very different priorities and awareness and ideas about what's going on here.
Yeah, like, of course, Cassie has hung on to that, but, like, even Rachel, like, I feel like Rachel, she's only halfway into it because of the fact that it's obviously, like, should have or was originally the primary goal. She's more into it because it's like, "Listen, I'd rather take action than not take action." You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
she's not exactly healthy about it. And I mean, Jake's Marco's best friend, and even now he's still like, "So you know what this means, right, Marco? We're all gonna get hunted down because of your actions that you took without, like, consulting the rest of us."
What Jake's really
Like, it's
saying is,
fucked.
you know what this means, Marco? This means we actually have to progress the plot instead of just maintaining the status quo every week.
I can't send Cassie off to Australia when I get sick of her anymore.
Like mailing normal to Abu Dhabi.
Mailing Cassie to the Alice or whatever the fuck. Peta Springs.
Marco kicks Euclid off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's great. It's crazy. It's such a huge shift from where we were before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. No, go
No,
ahead.
no. No, 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 no. Mine was stupid.
So is mine. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, here's a little Seropedia goof. I didn't
Okay.
look. I didn't. If it's not on there, it should be. Here's my
Oh,
my
okay. Okay.
submission.
Your submission.
Yeah, I believe they're at the Chi residence, and Axe is in the grass as an Andalite, and he goes, "Oh, this grass is delicious," and he also calls it tasty.
Hmm.
But he can't. The whole thing about Axe is that he doesn't know what taste is with his. You don't taste with your hooves.
Mm.
So, but maybe he's just picked that up from being a human, and now he's like using it to describe a different kind of sensation of what it's like to get particularly good grass absorbed through your hooves. Just
Yeah, I
something
feel
that
like
stood out to me.
they feel like they talked about that before. Like Axe, yeah, like Axe has thought about taste in terms of his hooves before. It just wasn't overwhelmingly so. Although, actually, that's a good point. I For some reason I thought that was in the yard, the front yard, where he shouldn't have been in Andalite, but it must have been in the park. Because I had a whole like little note here about how because Marco says like, oh, the Chi kind of let their yard grow out a little bit too much for a suburban home because they don't want to harm life any more than is necessary. And I was just thinking about how I want to live in the neighborhood where the Chi have infiltrated the HOA and have been like, the rules are no one's allowed to cut their grass in this neighborhood. Much better.
Yeah, it is. It is in their backyard. I think
What the
it
fuck is
says
Axe doing as an Andalite in their backyard?
it says they're between the pool house and a row of shrubs.
Axe, axe,
But it
axe.
says he's demorphing in the cover of trees, so it's fine.
I
Oh
don't know
wait,
about all
wait, but then
this.
he morphs to human again before they go in the back door. What the fuck? Why does he
Okay,
demorph?
this is some stuff that could have used an editor, I guess.
See, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Exactly the same. You agree with all my points. Let's move
Hmm.
on. Here's what I really don't like about the Chi in this part. They're like, "Oh, we can try to build this Z space thing, right? We'll
Hmm.
help. Axe will help your dad. Oh, but we need to get all the parts. Oh, can we send the Chi out to Radio Shack to get some wires and stuff? And Eric's like, no, we can't. Or I don't even think they say that. Just Marco just says no. The Chi can't do it because they can't like in any way assist with something that might lead to violence,
Yeah,
right?
that's why they never give them information or anything like that.
Yeah, literally, all they do is spy and relay information directly to aid in the guerrilla warfare of the Animorphs, pun intended. But they draw the line at shopping at Radio Shack. Like, it's fucking completely nonsensical.
Now they do
Sucks.
need a little bit more. They say they need to burglarize some high-end places, but still.
It's still no. It's
Yeah,
completely unacceptable.
it's
I
dumb,
mean,
you're
they
right.
literally what they did already, faking their deaths, is more should be more egregious than this. Don't tell them what it's for. Just say go to Radio Shack. We're fixing our computer. Like what? Stupid. It doesn't even matter either, because then I thought,
Yeah.
oh, this is like an excuse for he's gonna have to like do a morph to like sneak in to steal from Radio Shack or something. But they don't even, they just hand wave it, like they just get the stuff. It doesn't
Yeah, they're
matter.
like, whatever, we'll get it off screen. That's not important. They've got more
Yeah,
important fish to fry in this book. Um, yeah,
whatever.
I do still like the listen. Axe in this section is so upset about the fact that we have this device, and I do love because there is an implication there because it's just like Axe has always been like, well, I can't make a zero space device, right? Like he's like, listen, I can build everything I need except I need the Z space transponder. You don't have it, so I can't contact the Andalite fleet. And in this point, they're just like, yeah, well, now we know that it is possible to make a Z space transponder out of human parts and technology. And my dad probably has some idea of how to do that. And Axe is just like, what the fuck? This is not okay. No, fuck you. No, I could if it were possible, I could have done it. You can't tell me they can do it and I didn't know how to. Fuck that. Fuck you. He's so upset. And
Yeah.
they do have to legitimately be like, I mean, Axe, you probably are smart enough to do it, and maybe my dad could help a little bit. Next, it's like, well, maybe I'm smart enough to do it, and he could help a little bit. It's quite good.
Yeah, it is very funny. Marco's dad has some good moments in here too.
Hmm.
I like them all.
Yeah,
Marco's
and
dad
I
kind of the
do.
Randy Marsh of Animorphs, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Uh, yeah, I do also like that it's a little bit more reasonable than us. Just like, it's like, oh, we have literally the tech to send any kind of a signal, so we are just below the level of using Morse code, right? Like that is a much more reasonable idea than like we actually did Z space, and then Axe can upgrade it. It makes sense. It works good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And we really, right at the end of this section, it also really hits home, as you said, that Marco basically now is a fugitive
Yeah.
and presumably will be for the remainder of this series. Like, he's no more going to school, no more worrying about
Hmm.
math tests, no more worrying about
Yeah.
his stepmom. He's like, his life is just changed now.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's all
huge.
over. Yeah, he just has to be dead. If they ever find out he's not dead, then the rest of the Animorphs are completely fucked. So he's just away now.
It's nuts, and
It's
also it
it's
made me a
crazy.
little jealous because
Mm.
how good would it be to fake your own death and just no responsibilities, living on the lam?
Could be nice. That could be a lot of fun.
Not that I really
Sucks
have
we're in
any.
this connected information age when people used to be able to do that all the time.
I know, man. Back in the old days, Wild West, you just fucking, you don't want anyone to recognize you. Just go one state over. Your
You don't even have
new
to go
new
that far,
life.
but yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
done.
new identity. You can have you can have two families in two different places. They don't know about each other.
Yeah, it's
There's
so
no
hard to do that now.
photographs. Like, no one fucking knows. No fingerprints. You could be anybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, let's keep moving because we're getting
keep
late
moving.
into the.
Keep
So
moving.
okay, so the zero space communications thing, it's like coming along, right? They're doing good work. They can't call out yet, but they can pick up the Yerk messages, and we're not done with massive important plot changing
Mm.
moments here because it turns out that a very big thing is happening right now. Visser One is back on Earth right now, and she is about to be executed as a traitor because I guess the like nine sifter Anadi thing went very badly, and her life was contingent on that. And it seems there is a very good possibility that Visser 3 is going to be promoted to the new Visser 1, and that might lead to like a policy shift away from infiltration into like outright invasion. So they're like, well, oh shit, we gotta, they decide basically they gotta get Visser 1 and or Ava out of there because she is like, not only is she Marco's mom, but she's also the only one with like insight as to what might be happening at like high level Yerk politics, and that could be important if we have a dramatic shift in Yerk policy. Um, Axe has also found out that there's a new tunnel into the Yerk pool, so the plan is they're going to steal a bug fighter and fly it in to like bypass the security, which they don't actually say is a Gleep biofilter, but presumably that's what the security is. Um, so again, like we just had Marco. Right, we just said, okay, Marco is dead. He's gone. Marco's dad knows. Huge status quo change. But also Visser 1's about to be executed, so we have to do this rescue Marco's mom plotline, and Visser 3 might be the new leader, and just like this book turns everything on its head.
Yeah, it's a complete upheaval. It's like 5 books worth of plot to make up for the
Yeah.
ones that didn't have any.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the first half of this book could easily have been a book, and it would have been more than satisfactory in terms of how much was happening.
Yeah, but they weren't done yet. They had shit to do. I want at this point, I don't know. Did they know that they were working towards an end game finally? Were they like, okay, we only have so many more books left, it's time?
They must have. Like, this feels like up until this point, K.A. Applegate was stalling, stalling, and then at this point
Yeah.
she was like, okay, oh, shit, I gotta start wrapping up the series. Let's fucking write an outline in which a bunch of shit happens, because now we gotta start moving.
Yeah,
I
it sure
wasted
feels
too
that
much
way.
time.
Now, they build this Z space transponder communicator, whatever.
Hmm. Sure.
X starts speaking in a language
Hmm.
that I don't do we know what language this is? Is is
I
this
feel like
Yerk
this was.
language?
I thought this was intended to be scrambled. Like, these were the scrambled communications that he couldn't unscramble yet. But maybe it's a
Hmm.
language. Are you
I
talking
don't
about the
know.
part where he goes, Aka Upa Otso Odi Skula Muda Pule?
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. And when I read that, this is not a joke. I thought, oh, that looks like Italian. I thought maybe it was something where he was just getting random like receptions and he was trying to didn't or the translator was translating it into Italian or something. It wasn't working. And I actually
Mhm.
went on Google Translate and tried to translate it. I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's saying. Before I realized, oh, it's just gibberish.
That's very good.
I thought it was a real language. But
Kind of dumb.
what?
Oh, nothing.
Okay.
That's a good story. I like that story.
That seems sort of mean. Anyway, this is another example where I feel like I wish there was more time in this book because we don't it cuts right to Marco's dad is with all the Animorphs
Mhm.
basically. We don't get like there should be a scene of him seeing Jake and being like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, all this time your best friend and Cassie and all this, they're all in on it too." Like we don't get that moment of him of everybody being like, "Well, Marco's dad, what's up?" That I feel like you really want after
Yeah, they
this.
they kind of off screen all of that. It's like at the beginning of chapter whatever 6 or something 7, Marco just is like, and then I told my dad everything off screen, and he didn't believe me. But once I morphed, now he knows, and he just knows everything. So we don't need to have the scene where he sees everybody because he already knows, and that doesn't really work. 'Cause you do kind of need
Yeah.
that scene.
They just were like, we did it with Marco. We don't have time to do it again. But it feels awkward. It's just like what
Hmm.
they're just all like, acting like this is normal now. We've moved past that. All right, fine.
Yeah, and I feel like this whole oh shit, Visser 1's getting executed thing would work. Like it's not just interesting from the Marco perspective, it's very interesting from like his dad's perspective too, and it might have been better to have more time to just sit with his dad and have his dad like acclimate to this new normal before the possibility of rescuing her shows up. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I have more thoughts about like Viscera 1 and execution and all that, but I feel like best saved for after for the completion of the book and the Viscera 1 stuff, maybe.
Yeah, sure. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this section is a little bit more like hammering down on earlier points. Like I appreciate that like once again, we see Marco being like, "Well, obviously I want to rescue her cuz she's my mom, but we already rescued my dad. It'd be asking too much to go in unless this is a good idea." He like needs Cassie to give him the out where Cassie comes in and is like, "Ooh, I got a reason because she would know." and like she's secretly trying to give him a reason to rescue his mom. It's just that same like this is what you got into it for in the first place, and now it's not your top priority anymore. Uh, and
Mm,
it's another great Cassie moment that seems to understand that like one of the best things about Cassie is like her hypocrisy is what allows her to kind of like keep her soul.
hypocrisy. Yeah,
It's good. It works.
I loved this moment.
Mhm.
I love Cassie. This, I mean, honestly, I got a little misty. I thought it was beautiful. I was like, Cassie looked out for him, and then and then Marco says, she is the bravest and the smartest of my friends. That's so sweet. I love
Mhm.
that moment. That's
Mhm.
cute. I'm gonna cry.
Ship
It's so
the ships
nice.
have been flipped.
The ships have been flipped. Flip ships. It's just that's beautiful. It's so cute. I love them. It's
It was
nice.
it is very good. It's a good moment.
And the only thing that tops that is later on, a little later, Marco and his dad rhyme with each other.
Oh yeah, that's nice too. I like
That's
that
their
detail.
thing they do sometimes together is they try to rhyme each other's last words. It's adorable. I love them.
Yeah. No, it's good. There's some good writing in this section.
Uh,
Uh,
very fun.
Also hammering that a similar thing. I like the moment with Jake here. Jake in this book really is just like I'm a leader now. I've forgotten how to be a kid. Like Jake does not come across as a kid in this book, and I think that that is to his
Mm.
benefit. Like there's a section here where Jake's like, "Well, Visser One might not cooperate, but we can starve her out." And Marco's dad's like, "Is that painful?" And Jake says, "It's a living hell, but it's better than what she's been through," or something like that. And it's like, God damn, Jake, he's such a fucking little hard ass. Like,
Yeah.
like the adult is coming in here like, "Oh, is it gonna hurt?" And Jake is over here just like, "That doesn't matter. What's matter? She'll be free." It's great.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's really good. Again, all the characters feel really strong.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, he's. I think he drops a couple of war references too, military
Of course he
references.
does.
Yeah,
That's our Jake, Big
he
Jake.
he loves the stuff. All right, I think we keep
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, honestly, most of the rest of the book from this point on starts getting very actiony.
Mhm.
Okay, so they make like a fake. They need to steal this bug fighter to get into the pool. They make like a fake call to the like forest service, pretending that like there's some hiker guy who saw a Hork-Bajir and doesn't know what it is. So of course the Yeerks send a bug fighter out to see what's going on, and they attack it and they take the bug fighter. Um, they pilot it, they go to the underwater tunnel off the coast and fly that into the pool. Um, I kind of want to break here before we get into the pool proper, just because like I just did like 3 chapters worth of stuff and the pool is going to get chaotic. Not a lot happens here, but I just want to make sure we're not covering too much at once.
Are we? Is the
Um,
pool counting as the like the hangar area? Like that's all part of it?
I
Is that what
was
you're
going to do
saying?
that all as
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of it
yeah,
if you
yeah.
wanted
That's
to.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like there's not that. But I the main thing I just wanted to say here is that I think the scene is good. This is one of the only scenes where like you're devoting chapters to things you don't need to. You know what I mean? Like there's like 2 chapters
Mm.
devoted to Axe piloting the bug fighter that you don't need. Like you have one like you have the battle to steal it. Okay, now they've just fly it to the pool. You don't need uh to describe the weird piloting where they have to go up into orbit and go down. But those chapters are good, right? It's like you know what I mean? Like Axe has some good lines, he's got some good character moments. The way that the action of the scene is described works. It's not like super chaotic. I like it.
Yeah, no, this is a great another great possibility for a theme park ride. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is your Star Tours motion simulator where you're like, oh, here we go. I mean, so basically everything from here until the end of the book would be, I think, part of that ride where
Mm-hmm.
you're on the bug fighter. And just yeah, it's just a really well laid out. In contrast to certain other action scenes in the series, it's all comprehensible. You know what's going on. You understand the stakes. There, you get some cool action moments. All the characters have things to do. I do wonder about like these bug fighters don't have, I guess they don't have like gravity control or anything like that because they're flying all over the ship. But
Yeah,
that's
they're like
fine.
supposed to use their seatbelt or something.
Yeah, Axe is like, put your seatbelt on, dumbasses. Also, he mentions that the bug fighter controls must have been adjusted for a mutant taxon that has more than the normal amount of arms or something.
That feels like him doing cope. Like he's bad at flying, and he's like, oh, I feel like this must have been for a mutant taxon. He's got a number of good scenes like that. Like there's a bit where Cassie is like, maybe you want to read the owner's manual, and he's like, no, I think I got it.
But is that,
X
are we
is
meant
great.
to understand that mutant taxons are just a thing that happens? Like, what is
I
that?
I mean, you could, but like I said, I am going to understand it as Axe just trying to make himself look better.
Maybe
He's
you're
feeling a
right.
little insecure after the whole Z space incident.
I honestly don't know. Maybe that is unironically is just supposed to be him doing that. But when I read it, I was just like, "What? That's a thing now?" Because it's Animorphs. Anything could be a thing.
That is true. It is Animorphs. I it's he also has a good section where they're like, "Ax, do you have a clue how to fly this thing?" And he's like, "Yes, I have several clues. I will need several more, though." Like he's very funny in the scene, and
Yeah,
in
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
good Axe way.
It's great, spot on stuff.
Yeah,
And
spot on
this is
stuff.
also a part where, right when I was thinking, they're kind of talking about rescuing Visser One, and I was like, we're gonna need. It occurred to me, what if she says she knows the Animorphs' identities? She could
Hmm.
use that as a bargaining chip. Like they should be trying to save her on that basis alone, and
Yeah,
then they actually do bring that up like right after I thought of it. So I was like, oh, they did it. They said the thing. They're covering all the bases. I was happy.
yeah.
I did wonder why they had to invent a Z space transponder to figure this out, and that she weren't aware of this, whose only job is to spy on the Yerks. It seems like this is a pretty major thing. That it's not like they were hiding it. She's literally on public display. We'll find out. They
Yeah,
probably should have mentioned this at some
yeah.
point.
Visser One is like gloating his ass off about this. He's like, "Yeah, we got her. We're gonna execute her." It's not some secret thing.
Stop. You're calling him Visser One now. Like you're just gonna casually make that shift.
Yeah, don't don't
You can't just drop that. You need to.
don't dead name him. He's Visser
Oh
One
my
now.
god. All right, fuck off. Next part.
Well, hold on. What about this? What about this? Is this the police? I'm calling from the National Forest. I got the darndest dang thing you ever did see trapped up here. Some kind of monster with blades all over it. I swear I got me a real live outer space alien.
Yeah, that's funny. I liked when he
You,
said that.
you like that bit?
Their
Uh,
plan
uh,
is good. Their trap is good. It works. It
yeah,
really feels like the momentum of these scenes. It's like the culmination of the Animorphs know what the fuck they're doing now. They mean business. We don't have to do some stupid ass, half-assed, sneaky covert mission where things go wrong. It's like, no, we're smart. We have a plan. It works. We're going in there. We're doing this.
yeah. It's good. It's exactly as they like spell it out. It's like enough of a big deal they have to send a bug fighter, but not so much of a big deal that they have to send a huge force. It's good, and it moves things along nicely.
And it leads us into.
Yeah, this big section. Okay, so they get into the pool and they're like walking through to kind of scope it out. And as you said, they see Visser One is being like she's been tortured and fucked up. She's got bruises and bleeding and broken bones, and she's literally just in the middle of the pool where everyone can see her, right? Like on display. So they're like, okay, we're not going to be able to sneak her out, so let's go back to the fighter and try to use it to bust her out. But they get stopped by some suspicious Hork-Bajir guards, and a fight breaks out. Um, they do get to the fighter. They start flying around and blasting stuff. Marco and Rachel like jump out over the pier, and start like untying Visser One. They're like commandoing, and uh, they start running out with her. There's fighting, and Visser One, or I guess old Visser One, crawls out of Marco's mom's ear, and in an attempt to she's like trying to crawl to the Yerk pool and escape in the chaos. Um, and as they're fighting, Ava's like, "Kill it! You have to kill it! Don't let it live!" Um, And then the new Visser one, Visser 3, he shows up as a giant flying thing, the Beavalurd from the planet Andar, uh, which looks like a stealth bomber with like a long silver tongue and big orange eyes. And he gets in a fight with the other Animorphs in a bug fighter. They blast him. It's great. Um, and in the chaos, Marco's mom manages to crawl to Visser 1, the Yerk slug, and crushes her in her hand, and Marco, like, stamps on it. So now Visser 1 is dead. The slug is dead. They escape and fly out. They're, like, forced to ditch the bug fighter to lose their pursuing bug fighters, but they did it, right? They freed Marco's mom, and they killed Visser 1, and it's this huge, big action sequence. It's cool.
It is cool. I like this Yerkpool hanger. I kind of wish we'd seen this earlier. It's just a cool concept for a place to explore with so many soldiers running around and all kind of like doing stuff. I mean, I guess I have questions about like how frequently are these bug fighters going in and out that they need Hork-Bajirs and controllers actively manning the stations and keeping track of where they're going, and like what are they doing? Like where are they going? What are these Yerks all doing?
It's kind of weird because my immediate response to that is like, what, you don't think they have a hangar or a reason to deploy jets? Like, of course they need that, and of course they need to deploy them. But then, like, you think about it, and it's like, as far as I know, the only resistance they have is from 6 gorillas here, and they're not actively engaging anyone anywhere else. Yeah, like, what do they need this for?
Presumably they're in other countries and stuff and doing stuff. I don't know if that's true.
Suppose. Yeah, I mean, I guess they did say this is a newly constructed tunnel, and they said that Visser 3 is planning on like changing to a more like direct invasion tactic. So it could be this is in preparation for like actual fighting.
Yeah, that could make sense because otherwise it doesn't seem like you should have more than like a few comings and goings a day. But what do I know?
Yeah, and they did already have, although I guess one of their old bug fighter things was that building they 9/11'd, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that may be true. Marco gets to have this awesome moment where I think he learned how to shoot lasers real good from playing Doom.
That's probably true.
He doesn't say it. It's not quite as good as Snakes on a Plane, where Kenan Thompson's character is able to land the plane, as he says, because he played Grand Theft Auto. That's how he knows how to fly a plane.
I never actually watched Snakes on a Plane. I feel like I really should.
Patreon coming up.
Oh, Patreon coming up. Listen, the Animorphs have morphed snakes, and they have been on planes multiple times.
Yeah, you can't say that that's wrong.
Yeah.
We are introduced to, there's a lot of stuff here. We're introduced to a new grade of Hork-Bajir.
Oh yeah, right? The blue band squadron.
Yeah,
led by Graph.
Led by Graph. They wear blue bands. These are like in like a 90s beat 'em up video game. This is your level 2 advanced versions, the like slight color change.
Marco calls them like the most pumped Horks they've ever seen. Hork-Bajir. I say Horks in my notes, so sometimes in my head I say Horks.
That's fine. I wrote blue band Horks in here.
Okay,
That's
there
fine.
you go.
It is a little. I am wondering, why haven't we seen them before? Is this a new thing? Did they just fly them in? Maybe they've been training them on Hork-Bajir homeworld and they just got here. I don't know.
I do think they said when we first met Visser 1 that like her private elite guard were like insane looking relative to the other ones. So it could be that now that Visser 3 is Visser 1, he gets the blue band squadron or something.
Yeah, he's earned them.
Yeah, he's earned them. That's
They're
right.
cool.
He gets Grath. Rachel has a good like psychopath / action movie star line where she squares up against Grath and she's like, "Oh, Hork-Bajir's gonna die on this pier, but it's not gonna be me." It's good. She's more Hork at this point.
There's a lot of fun. It's a continuation again of this action scene that's unlike the extended action scene in the last book. This one feels earned and important. And it's exciting.
It does get a little bit chaotic here, but it doesn't really even though it's a little chaotic and it's a huge percentage of the book, it doesn't really feel like it drags. And yeah, as you said, it's because it's important. Like the stakes here are extremely high and the outcome is very important. Like, this isn't like, uh-oh, we got to beat the Garrotron, so we went down to the pool. This is like, is Ava going to live or die? Right? Like what's going to happen? Do they actually get Visser 1 or is she killed?
Yeah.
Like this is big.
And it's very big. And we also get a Visser 3 morph, a classic one where he actually says the name of the alien and where
God,
it's from.
yeah, when he goes like, meet the Beaverlard, a little something I picked up on the planet Ondar. Yeah, every time he does
Excellent.
that, I'm cheering. It's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, same. I was going, yeah.
Everyone stood up and clapped.
Yeah. Even though, I mean, the morph basically does nothing. It's just there as almost like fan service. But
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter, but I gotta say, it's one of my favorite, like, Visser 3 fight things. Like, if you were to adapt it visually, because, in this, he has morphed effectively like a stealth bomber creature. And the Animorphs are literally piloting a bug fighter around and they get into a dog fight. Like they shoot him out of the sky with the bug. So like imagine if this was like a movie and this was the climactic action sequence and instead of just everything happening Animorphs action scene style, we got this cool fight scene where they're like flying around this cave dog fighting each other. That would have been great. Like that's
yeah,
great. And the
for
fact that
sure.
it happens is great.
Yes, all of this stuff would translate fantastically to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can we get to the Visser 1 of it all?
Yeah, let's get to the Visser 1.
Of it all?
Sure, if you must.
So she
It could
crawls
be
out
it all.
of Marco's mom's head.
Yeah,
She's
Edris, we can say. She's not Visser 1
right.
anymore.
I can never keep track of the names. Yeah, Edris. And Marco's mom's like, smash it. Smash it. Does it really there's so much tension over Marco trying to smash her. But if he misses her, like, what's going to happen? She gets into the pool, the Yerks will find her and just starve her again. Like, it doesn't really matter if he squashes her right now. Unless they, again, think that she's going to give information, I suppose. But
Yeah, I mean, like, not necessarily from a storytelling perspective, but as an emotional beat, this really works for me because, like, I don't know, like, you imagine Marco's mom is, like, all beat up, broken bones, can't even stand, blood running down her face, and, like, they describe her as, like, vicious in this scene. She doesn't come across as, like, "Oh, Marco, make sure you do that." She comes across as, like, this like foaming at the mouth animal, like, don't you dare
yeah.
let her live. I'm gonna fucking smash that thing, tear it to pieces. Let me just crush her in my bare hands, like all of my energy to crawl forward at an inch,
Yeah.
just so that I can get, it's good. It's really good. It hits hard emotionally. I think it's great as
Kind
a
of
scene.
Mount Doom energy from this scene.
Yes. Yeah, I get
Gollum
that.
on the precipice with the ring. Feels like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good because you have all the massive armies. The bug fighters dueling in the air, the Hork-Bajir morphs attacking, and then like the climactic crux of this is this woman who can barely even stand creeping forward toward a tiny slug, and that's what you're really caring about. Is she gonna get that slug? The way that just like a
Yeah.
hobbit and a golem are fighting, and that's the most important thing. It's good.
Yeah. It's very good. Here's my problem though.
Uh-oh.
I do have a problem.
Of course you do.
Which I'm almost sure you won't agree with. But
Oh, I might have agreed with it, but now I don't think I
but now you agree with me that you won't agree with it. So I win either way.
will. Okay.
Either way, in either case, I'm correct. You said this, right? He does it.
Yeah.
He squashes her.
Yeah, he squashes her.
He gets her. And now look, anything could happen. I don't know. You do. I don't. But it sure sounds like it's pretty clear that Visser 1 is dead. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, she fell into the pool. Like, it just seems pretty definitive
yeah.
that she's dead.
Slug pulped. Yeah.
Slug pulped. Uh to this, honestly, I really don't like this ending for that character.
Hmm.
We and it even more so to me hurts a book that I already complained about, which is Visser,
Hmm.
because I really just feel like we didn't get she didn't get a final monologue. We didn't get any like trying to appeal to her better will, or like her, at least teaming up to achieve her own ends, or any insight into what she's thinking right now. There's nothing. We have no idea what's going on with Visser 1. And we had this whole book that was ostensibly to develop her character and flesh her out. And then the next time we see her, she just gets crushed without even saying a word, and that's it. Like, what was the point of Visser? It
Hmm.
that's, and I know you could argue, well, it still like fleshes her out. You still have that background, but it just feels like it was wasted to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you. I do still really like Visser, and I love how it fleshed her out. It feels less like this like hurts Visser and more like there should have been more here. You know what I mean? Like Visser isn't necessarily hurt by this, but it is disappointing given that there is Visser that we couldn't do more with this character who I think is very interesting. I think we've sort of said this, we've sort of alluded to this. This book would be better split into two storylines, one where they get his dad and one where they get his mom, because that would give you a lot more opportunity to engage. Like, we don't have time to engage with Visser 1 here because we're too busy with the action sequence of saving her, which has to be the end of the book, and we don't have time for anything but that action sequence because the whole rest of the book was spent saving his dad. Um, I
Yeah.
think that it is a little bit hurt also by them trying to have it both ways in terms of who kills Visser 1. I really like the image of Marco's mom grabbing Visser 1 and just crushing her in her hand in that final desperate moment. That I think is a fitting and kind of like iconic image for the death of Visser 1. I wish we had gotten some monologue. I wish we had gotten some explanation, but the idea that she ends by crawling out of Marco's mom in a desperate attempt to escape and Ava kills her herself in that weakened state is great. The fact that Ava only half kills her and then Marco stamps her kind of sucks. Like, it's a little bit like we want Marco to kill her, but then we want also to have the image. Like, it doesn't. It's almost great, but yeah, it's missing something, and I think what it's missing is half a book.
Yeah, it's a great, cinematically, if I can
Hmm.
use that term. Like, it's staged well, and it feels very dramatic and intense and exciting to envision. But yeah, it just, to me, it feels lacking in the larger sense of the characters. Like, I feel like there's pieces missing that I wanted to see. Take her back, like keep her in Marco's mom's head, and then we have to hold her in the chi base while before until the Yerk can starve, and then we
Yeah.
can get to have some final moments with this Yerk.
Yeah,
But
like it would probably be better if you I don't know how you could possibly put the Elmas Chronicles where Visser is, but imagine that you put Visser at the end, and then like this book was all about rescuing Marco's dad, and then instead of the Elmas Chronicles ending this up, you end with Visser, but then at the very end of Visser, rather than rescuing Marco's mom and then letting her go back and then she wins the trial, it's like she calls them in as a last ditch effort to rescue her, and then they come in and instead they murder her and save his mom. And so instead of being like, oh, we get this whole fleshed out character backstory that makes her interesting, and then 10 books later, we don't pay it off. It's like, okay, we get this whole fleshed out thing that makes her interesting, and that's the end of her arc. It might be better
mm,
that way.
yeah, I think that's true. And it's not only her character that is set up for no reason. It's also,
Hmm.
we go through great lengths to get her declared innocent and give her this second chance and all this stuff. And then in this book, it's just like, it didn't work out, and now actually they are going to kill her, and Visser 3 gets what he wants.
Yeah.
It just feels like the entire point of that book was just to maintain the status quo a little longer. Like,
yeah, and you said that during the book. You said your biggest problem, or one of your biggest
right.
problems, was that the book primarily maintained the status quo. So like if the end of that book was everything is different now, right, that kind of would fix that problem.
You just don't need the 5 books or 6 books or whatever in between, kind of. Like, and also
Yeah.
like they set up all this, a Nadi, and like, what is that? It's like, it does not matter. We never get to see it. We don't know why it went wrong. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know, but it just doesn't matter. It just could have been anything. It's a little disappointing to me.
Yeah, just like cut books 35 through 44. Maybe you can, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
aren't necessary. You could sprinkle them in as filler, the good ones, the good
Yeah.
ideas. But for the most, like if book 35 was they rescue Marco's dad, and then at the end of the rescue Marco's dad book, Marco, like they're like cleaning up his house to do whatever, and there's an answering machine message or something. Marco, I don't know. That doesn't quite work, but you get the idea.
There's something you could do.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little disappointing to me because it just, I mean, and also like the Visser 1 thing, this is like since the first Marco book, right? Or the second, maybe. It was pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like the culmination of all that is just a little bit lackluster, even though the scene it's a great scene from a certain view. Yeah. From a larger perspective of the whole story, I was a little disappointed by that ending, but
yeah, I would agree. Narratively anticlimactic, even though, striking image.
okay. I feel like we've given enough to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any. I'm good on this session if you want to move on.
Yep.
Let's end it up. So, okay. So Marco brings his mom back to the Valley of the Freehork-Bajir, because that's where he's staying now with he and his dad, or his dad. Yeah, I guess he and his dad and his mom are now staying in the Valley of the Freehork-Bajir. So he brings his mom back there, and it's kind of like a bittersweet reunion scene where his dad sees Ava again because like he's still in love with Nora. And this is the part where Marco doubles down on making like one of the most fucked up decisions he's made in these books. He suggests to his dad that maybe Nora actually was just a controller all along. Maybe the Yerks knew that he was working on something, and they just planted her there, and she never really loved him, and he knows he's lying, but he plants that idea because he's hoping that maybe his mom and dad will get back together if he does it.
Yeah.
So this is the new status quo. Marco's in the valley, and he's dead. And Axe takes their newly completed Z-Space transponder, and he contacts the Andalite fleet, and Jake introduces himself to the Andalite command. And the book ends a little bit differently. There's like some text at the end here. It's like bolded, and it's between like some dashed lines. This is a new thing, and it says, we do know who they are, ... and we know you too, ...
So that in my version was on like the next page. I did not even read that until now. I've just now looked at it for the first time.
Yeah, so that's like right under there, and it says that, which is, it's not, could be a little better. So I've said this before on the series, on the back of every book where they put the description, there is a box at the top that always says the same thing.
Yeah.
And it says, we can't tell you who we are or where we live. It's too risky, and we've got to be careful, really careful. So we don't trust anyone, because if they find us, well, we just won't let them find us. The thing you should know is that everyone is in really big trouble. Yeah, even you. So this is kind of referencing that.
Yeah. It's sure. Okay, that's cool.
It's good.
Creepy.
It's spooky.
Yeah,
it's spooky, and it's a little nod to the fact that the series is different now, and we are starting to move towards some kind of an end game.
I'll just say a few final things about this ending. Marco and his family are the MVP of this book and maybe the whole series. I love them all.
Mm-hmm.
I wish, again, I would have loved more breathing room for this reunion between Marco, his mom, and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel rushed to me, but hey, it's Animorphs endings. What are you going to do?
Uh-huh.
It's not the worst example of that. The whole the situation of Marco lying to his dad is definitely fucked up. Very reminds me of a certain thing from The Last of Us. People who have played or watched The Last of Us know what I'm referring to.
Not
But
me.
I won't spoil it if you don't know. But it feels like yes, this whole situation of I have to tell you a lie to in a way, like I can argue that it's better for you, but it's also really selfishly just so you're not mad at me.
Mhm.
It's very sad and dark. It definitely really reshapes the relationship between Marco and his dad. I have a feeling it's never going to really get explored again any deeper. But I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I won't talk about it too much going forward or anything like that. You'll just have to see if it's explored or not. But yeah, it's very dark because it feels so manipulative, right? Like Marco takes so much time throughout this series to say like I'm the ruthless one. I know how to get from A to Z. I always make the practical decision even if it's not morally right. And then here he like this isn't like a spur of the moment decision like not saving Nora. Like he takes time to think about what he's going to say before he does it and he's like, "Yep, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet." And
Mhm.
it very much feels like him saying like how am I going to get my dad and my mom back together the way I want them if my dad still loves Nora and wants to free her too? What if I just tell him that Nora never loved him? What if I tell him the whole relationship was a sham and the only woman who ever actually loved him was my mom? And it's
Jesus.
so fucked up, and it's just like, now what's going to happen? Even if his dad and his mom do end up getting back together, it's not going to feel good. It's not going
Yeah,
to feel like, oh, they still managed to find each other again. It's going to feel like, no, this is so fucked, Marco. What have you done?
it's extremely messy in
Hmm.
a way that most young adult books I feel or even Animorphs isn't always this messy. Like
Hmm.
there is no good answer to this situation. It's just
Yeah.
it's very it's upsetting in many ways.
Yeah. It's dark, it's upsetting. It doesn't give you the kind of whatever you were hoping was going to happen in terms of closure with Marco's family. Even if it now happens, you're not going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
It's
And then
good.
we're contacting Andalites and shit just got real, as they say in Bad Boys 2.
That's right. Shit did just get real.
So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this is a great book. Although there is a small voice in my head saying, am I inflating how great it
Hmm.
is because, as we said, we're just so starved for plot? I do, but I think right now in the moment, I feel like this is a great book.
It's so hard for me to say. Like when I do my end of season rankings, I'm going to be like thoroughly think like comparing this to every book directly that
Yeah,
already got a grade because yeah, I feel
yeah,
the same way like reading this book. I'm like, "Oh, this is great. Look at all this shit that happened. It's so cool." After all the books that just were dragging. As a kid, I don't even remember being I feel like my reaction to this book was more like, "Ugh, finally. Oh my god." So it's almost like I didn't appreciate it then, but am I appreciating it too much now? I don't know. It's a tough one to call. But it feels like it's really good to me in the
it's
moment.
certainly I mean, it's certainly an exciting book to read,
Mhm.
and again, just the fact that it's an important book,
Yeah.
no
And there are
matter
a
how you
lot of
slice
great
it.
things in it.
Yeah, definitely. And as we said, like the characters are, I think, indisputably well written.
Mhm.
Like the things that happen are very exciting. Really, my only knock i- is the Visser one thing, which I don't even really blame on this book in particular.
Mhm.
But also just I wish that again as always I wish there was more pages devoted to it. But no,
Yeah.
it doesn't really do a lot wrong. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, the Visser one thing is an issue, but I don't think it's Ellen Jarrow's fault. I think it's Kay Applegate's fault for making her also do that in this book in the outline.
Yeah. Let's
There's
quickly do
just no
pop
way to.
culture references.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get them.
Marco says, as you already read some of these, I am to cuisine what Sammy Sosa is to baseball. When's the last time you heard a Sammy Sosa reference, by the way? That used to be a bigger deal.
About the time this book came out.
I don't crack open a can of Chef Boyardee and call that a meal. A guy I know called Red Baron. He wants an HBO D-Scrambler. He's on TV. He's watching an old Star Trek, a new Star Trek. How about some Real World? Another real sign of the times. He says that's a long time without Miracle Grow for their plants. They talk about a PBS documentary on lemurs. I believe Cassie's parents are watching.
Yeah.
He's jolted from sleep like an SAC pilot. I looked up what that means and I forget now, but it's a thing.
Probably some kind of plane or something, right? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's something or that. Oh no, I think it's SAC is like a team of like elite jet pilots or something like that. I think. I don't remember. Yahoo Maps. He says his dad probably had a craving for Chunky Monkey. Not Chubby Hubby. He's a Chunky Monkey guy. Makes sense because Marco's like a gorilla. They took off like a Formula One. I did feel a little bad about grazing the Jeep Cherokee and that Dodge and the Honda. Mr. King is watching the Today Show. Now, Marco says Mission Impossible, not explicitly a reference, but probably
I thought
is.
It was capitalized.
Oh,
maybe it wasn't.
I didn't think it was, but who knows? Someone says that it's not just a way to phone home. Again, not explicitly a reference, but I don't feel like that phrasing exists if you don't have ET.
Absolutely counts.
Oreo. They reference Morse code, which I'm counting. Radio Shack, of course. Marco wants to rent a jet ski, or at least fake Marco does. That is a copyright thing. Mr. King was the cook on Darwin's ship and Henry Ford's production chief. Fuck off, Mr. King. I hate you.
I did read that, and I was like, I wonder if he hated Jews, given that he worked with Henry Ford so closely.
Yeah, I probably did, and I don't like the way that you said it. Honestly, without HBO, life gets a little scary, Marco says. His dearest dream is to annihilate human power centers in an Independence Day-style war. Visser 3's dream, of course. World War II battleship gets referenced. I taxied like a DC-3 kind of plane.
Sure.
Mobile Cuisinart of War. I guess that's a Hork-Bajir. I don't remember. They also call them the Valley of the Walking Swiss Army Knives. And again, the Cheev Oreos. So,
did you mention Cineplex? They talk about his dad going to Cineplex.
I Googled Cineplex and there is like a capital C Cineplex chain, I think, but it's also a generic term for just any like a multiplex kind of movie theater. So I didn't include it, but it maybe was meant to be the trademark reference, but I don't know. I think it's ambiguous to me, but
okay.
It's
fair
good
enough.
it's good that we declared it.
You're the expert in this, so I'll let you make the determination.
I feel like they maybe thought it was, but I don't think it should be. I think it shouldn't count, but in the context of the book, the author's intent, maybe it did. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
That's
this book.
Pretty big book, and things are really moving. Just a couple more, and then Elemist Chronicles. I mean, this season's it's really on a roll now. Well, we'll see what next week brings.
Shit's popping off.
If you have thoughts about it, email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, speculations. If you haven't read the series, you probably have, so no spoilers for future books, but whatever you want to say, we don't care. Email us.
Yeah.
What else?
Or you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys, where we give you additional content beyond just these episodes. This week, we're going to be talking about the Destroyer Men. What's the name of this book? I forget.
Firestorm.
Firestorm. It's a whole thing. Listen, it'll be fun. We're going to have a good time.
Don't advertise this, honestly.
You're going to like it. Go to the Patreon. We give you good content. You're going to love it.
You will love it, but yeah. Okay, if you want to follow me, just don't. I'm done.
Same.
My name's Jonathan, though. Thanks for listening.
My name's
Do we
Will.
say that at the end? I forget.
We don't.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever. Thanks, everyone, for listening to our bullshit. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about book 46, The Deception, in which Axe turns into a jet pilot on the Yerky Boys.
Oh, God. What the fuck's that about?